My heart in San Francisco.
Stop the music. Stop the music. I think I've heard that song before. Are you ready for some football? When I come home to you, San Francisco.
The San Francisco 49ers are once again the champions of the NFC's Western Division. Throughout the year, their offense has put the ball in the end zone more often than any team in the league. Quarterback Steve Young is once again the NFL's leading passer. And future Hall of Famer Jerry Rice has had yet another All-Pro season. But after tonight's regular season finale, the playoffs lie ahead. Last year, they had the league's best record in the regular season, but lost to Dallas in the conference championship game.
I'm not sure that we were consistently getting better last year. I think in a lot of ways we just played and expected to win, and then it kind of caught up to us in the end. We're a tougher team, and I think that we'll be tougher to beat because of that. And so I'm excited about the next few weeks.
The Philadelphia Eagles face the San Francisco 49ers on ABC. Philadelphia Eagles need a win tonight to avoid a losing season. They played well over their past 5 games. Meanwhile, the 49ers have already tied it up the Western Division of the NFC. They await the winners of the games this weekend to determine their opponent on the weekend of January the 15th and the 16th. But there are some great players for the 49ers on the verge of setting some astonishing personal marks and NFL records, and we'll be documenting those attempts tonight for you as the game moves along. Meanwhile, Al, I guess you got to say this is a story of 2 teams going in different directions. Basically, Philadelphia goes home tonight, and I can tell you, having done that myself, that does hurt the 49ers on the threshold of a new season, the playoff season.
And George Seifert told us last night, the 49er coach, he says, I have to get this team back in sync because about a month ago they may have been the best team in the league, but then they blew on at Atlanta, rebounded to beat Detroit in the Silverdome, but lost to Houston on Christmas Day. They don't want to go into the playoffs having lost 3 of their last 4. Steve Young will play about a half tonight, and Ricky Watters, who's missed 3 games with an injured knee, will play about a half as well. He wants to get this team, as he says, back in sync. Meanwhile, if the Eagles can win tonight, a great accomplishment to finish 8-8. They've lost Randall Cunningham for 3/4 of the season. Richie Kotite's done a fine job. So even though, Dan, this contest means nothing as far as the standings are concerned, I think it's pretty interesting what's happening in the game within the game tonight.
As you said, the 49ers would really like to play better, Al. They laid an egg on Christmas Day against the Houston Oilers. Steve Young in particular didn't play all that well, and Houston made them look bad with the blitz. And Richie Kotite told us last night, if they want to work on the blitz, we'll be more than happy to accommodate them this evening. So look for the Eagles to blitz a great deal. A lot of records at stake here tonight. Steve Young has the opportunity to be the NFL's leading passer for the 3rd consecutive year. That's never been done before. Jerry Rice is only 3 touchdowns behind, tying the immortal Jim Brown for the all-time touchdown lead in the NFL. And Ricky Watters, the running back for the 49ers, is back tonight. If he gets 104 yards tonight, he'll have his 2nd consecutive 1,000-yard season. So a lot at stake for the 49ers here this evening. This ought to be fun.
Final game of the regular season. 49ers will be off for 12 days. They will not play here until a week from Saturday. And, of course, the Eagles done for the season after tonight. Mike Colfer puts it in the air. The Eagles receive. And this is Herschel Walker, who has been doing everything this season. Blocking, running, receiving, running back kicks, and playing on the punt coverage unit. He takes it back out to the 27-yard line. With Cunningham down, they went with Bubby Brister. He got hurt. Ken O'Brien for a while, and now Brister again. And that's a great ratio. 11 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. He's played very well of late. Walker and James Joseph in the backfield. Bailey, the rookie, and Calvin Williams outside, and Mark Bavaro, the tight end. McHale, Shad, Alexander, Holmes, the rookie from Jackson State, and Anton Davis, the interior 5. That's James Joseph in motion from the 28, and Herschel Walker behind a convoy. Out to the 31-yard line for a gain of 3. Mike Walter in on the tackle. The 49ers in mid-year went to a 4-3 with Brown. Stubblefield's been great. The rookie from Kansas, 10.5 sacks. Washington and Carl Wilson. The linebackers, John Johnson, Walter in the middle, Romanowski, a good year on the outside. Davis and the veteran Griffin. At the corners, Tim McDonald, the ex-Cardinal, he'll be going to the Pro Bowl, and Merton Hanks are the safeties. On 2nd and 7 from the 31-yard line with Williams in motion. Brister, good protection. And then the pass is incomplete, intended for Calvin Williams, and then Bavaro was behind him. But Williams, the man for whom the pass was intended. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
There's one way you could characterize Bubby Brister, and that is he is tough, but he has also become a fine quarterback over the past 5 games. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't beat himself, and that's what they have liked about Bubby over these past 5 games, when they have finally got an offensive line together, stayed together over the past 3 games.
3rd and 7 at the 31-yard line. Walker in motion, and he goes out into the flat. And then the pass is caught by Michael Young, who's made a career out of becoming a 3rd down specialist for both John Elway for several years in Denver and now in Philadelphia, tackled by Dana Hall. 1st down at the 49.
It's really not bad coverage by Dana Hall. He goes to make a play on the ball and slips off the tackle. There's Eric Davis as he comes across. Davis goes in front of the ball. And then you see Michael Young. That's good concentration. Hall comes over and cleans up. But Eric Davis really with good coverage all the way across. He just made the mistake of going for the ball and not getting it.
20-yard gain. The fake to Joseph. Brister guns one to the near side. The catch is made inbounds at the 36 by Calvin Williams. Eric Davis with the coverage, and that's another Philadelphia 1st down.
I'm going to go right at Eric Davis again. Calvin Williams, we talked about Michael Young and his being able to play ball control reception, but Calvin Williams is having an absolutely superb year. That's his 56th reception, and considering the problems with the quarterback situation in Philadelphia, as Al already touched on, the changes they've made, he's having a remarkable year. Touchdown every 6 receptions that he makes.
1st and 10 at the 35. Eagles on the game's opening drive. Brister flushed and sacked back at the 45-yard line. Dennis Brown was in there. Ted Washington was in there as well. And it's a sack of 10 yards. It'll make it 2nd down and 20.
Carl Wilson, number 77, in there as well. He's the guy at the top of the screen. Dennis Brown, 96, the guy coming in from the bottom. It's pressure from the corners. Brister spins away from Wilson, but has nowhere to go, and Washington's on top of him. And that's the first positive statement by the 49er defense on this drive so far.
2nd and 20. Brister fires one complete to Bavaro, who gets popped at the 27-yard line. A gain of 18. Tim McDonald with the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Mark Bavaro with his 42nd reception has played a complete season once again, as he did last year for Cleveland. But remember back in 1990 when he had the bone graft in the knee, and the Giants physicians told him that he probably should give up the game. Well, he gave up for a year, didn't play, and just came back and has become a superb tight end once again. What a profile and courage he is.
And I think more often than not, after that hit by McDonald, that ball comes loose from most tight ends.
3rd and 2 with Joseph in motion. Walker stays in the block, and the pass is lofted perfectly into the arms of Joseph for a 1st down. He takes it to the 17. So the Eagles began the opening drive of the game at their own 28. They have a 1st and 10 now at the 17. Davis and McDonald in on the top.
Good drive by Philadelphia. And if you're looking on and you haven't seen Philadelphia that much, you might wonder why they're 7 and 8. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, this is a team that has played well over the past 5 games. They've won 3 of those 5, and they had so many of the injury problems early on, losing Cunningham in that 4th game after they opened the season 4-0.
We caught a glimpse of Bill McPherson, the 49er defensive coordinator, as the Eagles on 1st and 10 send Walker to the outside, and nothing there for Herschel, who gets taken out of bounds by McDonald. I mentioned at the top of the game, Seifert wants to get the team in sync, and I specifically mentioned Young and Waters, but what he really wants to do is get this defensive unit very much in sync going into the playoffs. They have been erratic.
It's the single biggest difference between the clubs that George Seifert has won Super Bowls with in the past. This is not a dominating group, and there is an excellent example of that. 4.5 yards per carry, the worst in the National Football League, and it's unusual to find a team yielding that many yards per rush that is this big of a factor in the playoff hunt. It's very unusual and quite a statement as to the 49ers offensive power.
On 2nd and 10, it's lofted toward the end zone, and no Eagle was within 20 yards.
I think you could say he was throwing that away.
Yep.
Nor any 49ers for that.
Right.
There was-
Sausalito.
But it really is quite a statement about the 49ers and their offensive prowess, that with a defense that gives up that kind of yardage against the rush. And of course, what a year this guy has had. This is 27 touchdown passes coming into tonight.
Eagles with the 10th play of the opening drive of the game. They're 2 for 2 on 3rd down on the drive, and on 3rd and 10. Deep drop and then an ill-conceived screen. James Joseph was the intended receiver, so the drive bogs down, and the Eagles will attempt a field goal as Roger Ruzek comes in.
There's Rich Kotite, who took over calling the plays about 5 games ago. That was the offensive coordinator you had a brief glimpse of, Zeke Rotkowski. He still has a major input into the plays that are called by Richie, but ever since Richie started calling the plays, that they have performed much better. Could have a lot to do with the fact that their offensive line has stayed intact for the past few weeks also.
34-yard field goal attempt for Ruzek, who missed 3 extra points last week against New Orleans. And he's good from 34. So the Eagles cash in for 3 on an opening drive that consumes 5:08. Eagles 3, 49ers nothing. Today's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Nissan. It's time to expect more from a car. Delta Airlines. You'll love the way they fly. HBO Comic Relief 6, one of the biggest comedy events of the year. HBO, just you wait. And new Wavy Lays. They're not your ordinary rich chip, they're Lays. Candlestick Park, San Francisco, as the 1993 regular season ends on the 3rd of January, 94. Roger Ruzek, who gave Philadelphia a 3-0 lead to send it down to the 49ers. And he sends it 3 yards into the end zone, where Dexter Carter accepts it and kneels down for the touchback. Niners get it at the 20 with Young when we come back. Steve Young, another great season. He's already thrown for more touchdowns than anybody in the league, so he has clinched that. 27 TDs, 16 picks. Waters is back after the knee injury. Rathman, the fullback. Rice and Taylor outside, and Brent Jones, the tight end. We'll check out the line in a second as the 49ers begin from the 20-yard line with John Taylor in motion. And Taylor on an end around seeks some room and picks up 5, takes it to the 25-yard line. Now up front for the 49ers, they've re-signed the tackles, Wallace and Barton. Barton will be going to the Pro Bowl. McIntyre, the left guard. Sapolu will get a Pro Bowl start, and Ralph Tam, the other guard. Sapolu starting in place of the injured Mark Stepnoski, was named to the team for the first time. And of course, Jerry Rice annually starts in the Pro Bowl, and this year is no exception. 2nd and 5. Here's Ricky Waters carrying for the first time in a month and picking up where he left off, taking it out to the 29-yard line, where William Thomas makes the tackle to the 34-yard line, a first down. Here's the Philadelphia defensive unit now. They picked up Refrigerator Perry in mid-year. Flores, Harmon's had a good year. Perry and Clyde Simmons will be a free agent tomorrow morning. Joyner will be a free agent as well. Evans and Thomas, the linebackers. The Little McMillans had a good year. Eric Allen will be going to the Pro Bowl. Waters and Miano starting for Hopkins, the safeties. Eric Allen is the only Eagle who will be in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl. Young on first down. The blitz is on. He gets it away to Taylor. And Taylor drags Mark McMillan for another couple of yards and may have picked up a first down. He's perhaps a couple of inches shy.
Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator for Philadelphia, didn't wait long to come with the blitz, and it was read quickly by Steve Young and John Taylor. Man-for-man coverage. They go against little Mark McMillan. I say that he's a good cornerback, but he's only 5'7", and he was dragged by John Taylor for the first down. There's Bud Carson, the defensive coordinator. Last week, Houston gave the 49ers fits with the blitz. You'll see a lot of it tonight from Philadelphia.
He picked up enough for the first, and Steve Young under pressure loses the ball. It is a live football. It is Byron Evans who picks it up and goes in for the touchdown. William Thomas created the fumble, and it's run in for a touchdown by the Eagles.
No question, last week Houston kind of got the word out. The 49ers had a tough time dealing with Houston's blitz. 2 times in a row now Philadelphia brings the blitz. William Thomas, no one to pick him up, Dan.
No, they didn't even have a man assigned to him, and if they did, it was a blown. Watch the left side of your screen. Thomas is going to come off the corner. Nobody even gives him a good look. Looks like Guy McIntyre, the left guard, saw him at the last minute, but at that, it was done. And this is exactly the way the 49ers looked offensively against Houston. And it was exactly what George Seifert was hoping they could correct coming into tonight's game. Well, it's nice to think about it, nice to work on it during practice, but the execution is not there.
Well, I think Steve Young read the blitz. His receiver did not.
And I'll tell you what else, Frank. He didn't do a very good job of protecting the football. Some of that's on Young.
7:36 remaining in the first quarter. An ignominious beginning for Steve Young on a night when Seifert said, I want to get this team in sync. Thomas created the fumble. That's the 3rd game in a row in which Evans has recovered a fumble, and Philadelphia leads 10-0. Roger Ruzek with the field goal and an extra point tonight. His first kickoff resulted in a touchback. This one's a little shorter. Dexter Carter takes it at the 4-yard line. And Carter breaks it out past the 40 to the 42. Tackled by Mike Reed.
Boy, tremendous blocking on the front wall of the kickoff return by the 49ers. Dexter Carter had a gaping hole to get through. Look at the beautiful blocking up front as he's not even challenged until he's a good 30 yards upfield. And that's exactly the break the 49ers needed after falling behind in this ballgame 10-0.
39-yard return for Dexter Carter. First down. San Francisco at the 42-yard line, and here is Ricky Waters cutting it back. And Ricky out of bounds at the 50-yard line. Dan at the top touched upon some of the things as Eric Allen may have been flagged for a late hit.
Yeah, there was a flag thrown on the sideline right in front of the 49er bench.
Jerry Austin is the referee.
Personal foul, number 21, late hit out of bounds, 15 yards, first down.
Well, it's Eric Allen is the all-pro cornerback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Ricky Waters is a player that carries a reputation with him. And there is the little rabbit punch by Allen to the head. It's not a vicious blow by any means.
It could have almost been, Dan. Everybody knows about Ricky Waters. He can snap and blow at any moment, and it's not a bad way to get a good football player out of a game. Kind of tease him into it.
Not a great way to give your team good field position, though, by tacking 15 yards on it. I know what you're saying, though. Waters is excitable.
From the 34, here's Jerry Rice making his 93rd catch of the season, tackled by William Thomas. Dan at the top was talking about some of the individual accomplishments we'll keep an eye on tonight. Steve Young trying to win the passing title coming into tonight's game, and we'll detail it a little bit later in terms of what goes into the pass rating. But Steve Young right now holding the edge over Troy Aikman. But the one thing that kills you more than any other thing would be interceptions.
And keep in mind, fumbles do not figure into the pass rating. So the fumble there that led to the Eagle touchdown does not hurt that pass rating.
On 2nd and 8, Brent Jones, the tight end, makes his first catch of the game. It's a San Francisco first down to the 19-yard line. Evans in on the tackle.
One of the best tight ends in this game today, and people continue because of Rice and Taylor on the outside to try to cover him with a linebacker underneath. Seth Joyner was in on the coverage. There he is, makes the tackle, but almost impossible because he's not one of the great blockers, but he's a good blocker, but he is like a wide receiver coming off the line of scrimmage.
A lot of
You
people
have got to cover Brent Jones if you're going to beat the 49ers.
And a lot of people here in San Francisco unhappy that he's the backup to Jade Novacek of Dallas in the Pro Bowl coming up. Over 20 receptions more than Novacek this season, yet he's a backup.
On first down, catch is made again by Brent Jones. It's an 8-yard pickup. He takes it to the 11-yard line. Andre Waters makes the hit.
49ers work this so well, too, and they'll keep going to him. All of a sudden, you got to come back, and then you get out of your double coverage on Taylor and Rice when you have to cover Brent Jones, and Steve Young reads that single coverage to his outside guys, and you're looking at the end zone.
Young 4 for his first 4 for 33 yards. 5 minutes to play, opening quarter. 10-0 Eagles. 2nd and 2. Ricky Waters. As he reaches the 10, he gets banged back. It'll set up a 3rd and short, 3rd and 1 from the 10-yard line.
Ricky Waters came into tonight needing 104 yards for a 1,000-yard season, and there was a question whether you should play him in tonight's game. Sore knee from a month ago, and he's wearing a brace tonight. He wanted to play. He wanted that 1,000 yards, and more than that, you play him a little bit, Dan. I think you just get the feel of it. He's going to be off another week, and you want him to get the feel of football again.
I think it makes his work the next 2 weeks of practice a lot more productive, having gotten some game action under his belt.
On 3rd and 1, he's going to lose a couple as Seth Joyner, who will be a free agent at the end of this game, rejected along with Clyde Simmons an offer from Eagles owner Norman Brayman last week to remain with the team, but conceivably could be back right there to make the tackle.
It was good timing on Joyner's part, knowing when to go upfield. He had a decision to make. Do I flow to the outside or do I get upfield through the gap? He chooses to come through the gap. There he comes right there from the left. And he is all over Waters. No chance at all for Ricky to turn upfield.
30-yard field goal attempt for Mike Kofer. And the kick is just good. Just inside the left upright. So Kofer puts 3 up on the board. Eagles 10, 49ers 3 with 3:35 to go in the first. Just good.
Explanation of the title. Birdland.
Well, Eagles. I don't know. The Birds are leading tonight 10-3 as Herschel Walker takes Mike Kofer's kickoff and brings it back out to the 24-yard line. Eagles on top by 7 with 3:26 remaining in the opening quarter on the final night of the season at Candlestick Park. On the Eagles sideline, his spot taken by Ron Holstrom, the 11-year veteran. Up front for the Eagles, who have the ball at their own 24-yard line. 3:26 remaining in the first quarter. The Eagles were still alive in terms of getting into the playoffs as late as last Friday. Had Washington defeated Minnesota, the Eagles would have had a chance to get in, but they were eliminated on Friday, and right now simply trying to finish the season at 500. They'd be 8-8 with a win. Brisker on first down. Throws near side. Bavaro makes the catch, and Mark, who has started every game over the last 2 years after missing all of 1991, is taken out of bounds by Eric Davis.
Frank documented early that one of the real pleasing success stories of this group here in Philadelphia has been their pass protection, and that's what happens when you get good pass protection. You get a chance to work the tight end, who in a lot of cases might end up being your second or your third choice. But the strength of this offensive line is that the kids that they've got on the right side, Davis and Holmes, and we'll get to these guys in a little bit, they are going to be great for a long time.
2nd and 3, and Herschel Walker takes it up to the 35-yard line. Mike Walter makes the tackle. It's a funny thing about Walker. People, I think, maybe more than ever, because of what he's done this year and the versatility he's shown, and his durability, perhaps he is getting more appreciation than at any point in his career.
Well, I think a lot of people thought that a couple of years ago his career was over. And that's why it's been such a pleasant surprise to see how productive Herschel Walker has been this season for Philadelphia, especially when things have been disintegrating all around him on Richie Kotite's team.
And he made Dallas, don't forget that, back in 1989 when he went to Minnesota for all those draft picks.
Looks like a false start over on the left side. McHale looked like he rolled out of his stance for the Eagles.
Jerry Austin, the referee.
For the snap, false start. Number 68. 5 yards. It's still first down.
It is McHale. Yeah, when I asked Richie Kotite last night, I said that you've got one guy going to the Pro Bowl, Eric Allen. Should anybody else be there? Without hesitation, he said Herschel.
It's just leading receiver, leading rusher. You documented how many things he's doing on special teams. And unless you go way back to when he played for the Generals, he came up there. He just, wherever he's been a performer.
It's nice of Richie to back his guy, but realistically speaking, when you look at the other running backs in the NFC, as nice a year as Herschel has had, he hasn't had a year that compares with Smith and Hampton and a lot of the other guys.
Well, maybe he went to cover punts.
1st and 15. And the catch is made by James Joseph. And Joseph plows his way to the 48-yard line in the first down, tackled by John Johnson. Joseph, the big fullback, 3rd year out of Auburn.
Look at the tremendous pass protection. You know doggone well that Joseph was not the primary receiver on that play, but a guy like Bubby Brister, who's not necessarily one of the game's great innovators, but if he enjoys that type of production, he knows this game well enough that he'll find the open man regardless of where he is on the field.
From the 48-yard line, Brister throws. The catch is made in a lot of traffic at the 40-yard line. Herschel Walker on the receiving end. Walker, their leading rusher, their leading receiver as well.
Back in 1988, when he gained over 1,500 yards for Dallas rushing, he also caught passes for over 500 yards. Now watch this. This is a good reception. He didn't even know it was coming and was able to get the body around. Good athlete. Surprisingly, there was the ball.
Looks like he was running a decoy route, and the ball did surprise him. It was behind him, and he still got it.
The 69th catch of the season. Here's Joseph. And he runs into a trio of 49ers after a minimal gain. Ted Washington is there amongst them as the clock ticks down in the first quarter.
We talked about the protection that Brister's had of the last 5 games. He's only been sacked 7 times in the last 5 games, and prior to that, in that 6-game losing streak, Philadelphia gave up 24 sacks over that 6-game period, and that was when they were struggling with their offensive line and had all kinds of injuries, but they have really held together in the last 5 games.
That is the end of the first quarter. Eagles 10, 49ers 3. Back we come with the second quarter of Monday Night Football after this commercial and a word from our ABC station. Here's how Bubby Brister found out the first quarter was over.
Hey, if you quarterback in Philadelphia, you're very loose.
Whew. Never turn your back on the action.
Right. It is 2nd and 9 as we start the second quarter. Philadelphia at the 49er, 39, and Brister shovels one ahead as he was on his way down. The pressure was put on by Ted Washington. And the pass is caught up at the 38-yard line by Calvin Williams.
Boy, great move inside by Ted Washington. A power move, then a move back to the inside, and he's all over Brister.
And a good catch by Calvin Williams to save that. Get a couple of yards out of it.
Yeah, it didn't go for much. That's one of the advantages of being a big, strong guy, and that's exactly what Bubby Brister is.
3rd and 7. Eagles lead 10-3 early second quarter. Brister guns it over the middle, and it's incomplete. And a flag is thrown because the intended receiver, Michael Young, was knocked down.
Romanowski just upended Michael Young.
Romanowski decided to vacate the area maybe if I get out of here quick enough, they won't see it. No chance.
Pass interference. Number 53 of the defense. Automatic first down.
That wasn't pass interference. That was pass annihilation.
Young trying to work across the middle and for the first down yardage, and Romanowski just unloaded on it. Here's Young. He'll take it down. He looks back into the inside, and whoops, there's 53.
Yeah, if Dick Butkus is watching tonight, that made him smile. That's the way the game used to be played. Come across the middle, you were fair game. That's not the case any longer.
First down at the 49 at 27. Good fake, buys time. He goes to a secondary receiver, but incomplete. Good coverage over there as well on the rookie Victor Bailey. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this? And by Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. They are driving excitement. Eagles just 7 on the ground, but 92 through the air. 49ers 41 total yards. Eagles up on top, 10-3 difference in the game. The fumble returned by Byron Evans for a touchdown. James Joseph picks up 4 to the 23. Ted Washington makes the stop.
Dan touched on something earlier about the character of this 49er team. It's not like the teams that won all those Super Bowls. When you used to run down their defense, they would be all single-digit numbers. It'll be 4th, 5th, 6th in the league. They're 15th overall into tonight, 17th against a rush, or 10th against a pass. And those are not the numbers that were there when they were winning, and George Seifert was the defensive coordinator. They're still winning, but it's a little different.
3rd and 5 at the 22. Brister guns it to Joseph. He loses the football at the 14, but they're going to say he was down at the 14-yard line, and the Eagles will maintain possession. Tim McDonald hit him, came up with a football, but the head linesman is right there to say the ground caused the fumble.
Runner is down by contact. First down, Philadelphia.
Dubious call. Let's take a look.
We'll look at this from behind. Joseph just breaks it off. Firmly in possession of the football. And you can hear the crowd react in the background. They saw it too. The ball appeared to be on its way out before Joseph hit the ground.
Mike Walter stuck a fist in there, popped it out.
Yep.
One that could have gone either way. Does he lose it before he's down?
Yes.
You betcha.
Yeah, the ball's out.
First down, though, for Philadelphia from the 14, and Brister too deep. Intended for Victor Bailey. Good coverage. Don Griffin back there with him.
Excellent coverage. Brister tried to put it in the corner, the only place he could put it without risking the interception. Had he caught the ball, he would have been out of bounds.
Another long drive here put together by the Eagles. The 11th one coming up, and they have put together some very solid, time-consuming drives so far in this ballgame. We're just barely into the second quarter.
2nd and 10. This drive started back at their 25-yard line. Herschel Walker. Gain of 1 to the 13-yard line. Walter in on the hit again, the middle linebacker.
Mike Walter, a big part of that change back at mid-season, or when they went from the Elephant defense to primarily a 4-3. Walter moved in to take the spot of Keith DeLong at middle linebacker, and John Johnson moved over to the left side, and Romanowski to the right side.
3rd and 9. 12 minutes to go in the half. Eagles lead by 7. Brister to a wide open Williams for a touchdown.
Boy, and this you don't want to see, even if you've got things locked up. Even if you don't have to worry about home field or whatever. Philadelphia just moving up and down this field at almost a will.
Well, we've got
Making
two
mistakes.
things. We've got a couple things. We've got some confusion in the 49er secondary. We've also got a slip. one of their safeties slips back in the back of the end zone. We ought to get a look at it right there. I think it's Tim McDonald who slipped and went down to the ground. Whether McDonald was going to be the guy that was supposed to react back in on Calvin Williams or not.
Ruzek with a very ugly looking kick, but it's good.
That's about a 6.2 on the style meter. There's Jeff Fisher, the secondary coach of the 49ers, and a very inauspicious start. Calvin Williams right here. He's going to make his break. Here's Tim McDonald. Watch him slip as he tries to plant to go with right there. He's down on the ground. That's all there is to it. He doesn't even make an effort to get back in it. He knows he has no chance. And that is a relatively easy touchdown for the Eagles. And McDonald over here from Phoenix getting a chance to prepare for his first trip into the playoffs. And right now, it's the Philadelphia Eagles that look like the team that's headed for the playoffs. They are dominating the 49ers on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
17-3 is the score. Ruzek kicking off. Gathered at the 2 by Dexter Carter. He brings it back out to the 28, a run back of 26 yards. Corey Barlow makes the hit. 11:49 remaining in the opening half in San Francisco. Well, the playoff starts Saturday, and we'll have game 1 for you here on ABC pregame at noon Eastern, and the kickoff at 12:30 Eastern. The Steelers and the Chiefs from Kansas City, followed by Green Bay and Detroit from the Silverdome in Pontiac. The playoffs Saturday, both games right here on ABC. 49ers from the 28-yard line begin this drive with William Perry and Byron Evans taking care of Ricky Waters after a gain of 3. A somewhat slimmed down refrigerator right there. Still working that Stairmaster every morning.
For extended periods of time. Rich Kotite says for an hour at a William Perry gets on the Stairmaster, and away he goes.
Second and 7 from the 31. Oh, and that's nearly picked off by Seth Joyner. Hey, people love inside television stuff. I gotta laugh like crazy. Frank's ready to cough and presses Dan's cough button.
If you wondered why my voice disappeared,
that's when you know it's been a long season.
Yeah.
It says DAN right on it.
What I'm worried about, Frank, is you'll get thank you cards.
Been a long season.
Third and 7. That was Young's first incomplete pass. He's 4 of 5 for 33 yards. Young gets sacked, loses the football. McIntyre was there, and he does recover it to retain possession for San Francisco just barely.
And a smattering of boos coming from this 49er crowd.
Can you believe that?
Headed Steve Young's way, and you're right, that is hard to believe. He is not keeping the body and the ball in close proximity. Watch Steve as he tries to move away, and that's just hitting the helmet of Andy Harmon, number 91, and Steve has got to do a better job of protecting the football.
Klaus Wilmsmeyer to punt. You saw Vi Sikahema back to receive at the 30-yard line. Sikahema calls for a fair catch and loses the football. And fortunately for him, it rolls out of bounds, and the Eagles will have possession. Eagles get it back. 10:18 to go in the half. 17-3 Philly. Only 2 Super Bowl bound teams lost 3 of their last 4 regular season games. The Eagles in '80, and they went on to lose the Super Bowl to the Raiders. And the Broncos in '89, who went on to get bombed by the 49ers in New Orleans. And the 49ers right now, as Darren Jordan needs some assistance back to the locker room, are in jeopardy of losing 3 of their last 4. They're down here by 14. Herschel Walker begins this drive for Philadelphia with a 1-yard pickup. He's tackled there by Carl Wilson. There is Steve Bono. Now, he's going to play tonight, but this is not what George Seifert wanted. He wanted this team to get back in sync, and they have been in anything but sync on each side of the ball thus far through the first quarter and a half.
3 weeks ago they lost to Atlanta, but they could excuse that because they fumbled it away at the end of the game. But last week against Houston, they almost got shut out, and they have not looked good tonight.
Second down and 9. Pressure. Brister gets it off to Herschel Walker. He slips a Davis tackle. And that is out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Merton Hanks stopping him there.
Bubby looks like he's done some damage. Kind of bent over in some pain. About 15 yards back behind his offensive mates. I don't know if he pulled a muscle or something as he was in full retreat. But that was a good job by Herschel Walker, breaking a couple tackles and making something out of a play that really didn't appear to be headed anywhere.
He's extraordinarily strong, Herschel Walker, and you saw it right there. It never is very dramatic, his running. He's not a slashing cutback runner. He has short, choppy steps. Not pretty at all, but he is strong and powerful. And durable. I don't ever recall him missing any play because of an injury.
The key with Herschel Walker, keep his shoulders headed to the sidelines. If he gets parallel to the line of scrimmage, that's when he's his most dangerous.
Timeout, Philly.
There's Lester Holmes, the #1 draft choice of the Eagles. Good matchup tonight. He's going against Dana Stubblefield, the talented #1 draft choice of the 49ers. What a good draft for both of these clubs with these two right here. And it's rare to see two #1 rookies squared off against one another.
3rd and 7 after the Philly timeout, and Brister is able to convert. Calvin Williams makes the catch, takes it to the San Francisco 46-yard line, and angry with himself for not being able to maintain his balance and really breaking it.
He felt he could put some more yards onto that, but it was a good read by Brister and Calvin Williams. The blitz coming. There's Hanks, number 36, the safety blitz. That brings a tight man-for-man coverage, and that's Magruder missing the tackle after Calvin Williams comes up with the ball. And here's where he slips. He felt he could really put some big yardage onto it, but nevertheless, he gets the first down.
That's where your brain tells your legs what to do, and they just don't obey.
Topped off by this side of Candlestick. Soft and soggy. Deep drop. Herschel Walker has lots of room to roam and has a first down to the 33-yard line.
That's got to be the world's ugliest screen, but it was effective. Brister got in trouble back there. It was a miracle that one of the offensive linemen didn't get downfield on that screen. Ordinarily, they're counting them to themselves. And that time, Tim McHale, I think, was out in front of it. Brister on the screen. He sets up. Now he brings the defensive lineman in with him. Now he can't find the receiver. Finally, he does. And none of the linemen had gone downfield.
None of them got caught being downfield.
Brister.
Somebody better come back and help him.
His 19th pass of the night is a great catch made at the 10-yard line by Calvin Williams.
When you hit it right, Dan, it was Williams who finally recognized Brister was in trouble. And we've already told you about the kind of year Williams is having. That made a good play, made a good angle for Brister, who was in deep trouble as he rolled out of the pocket. Now here's Williams. He sees his passer in trouble, breaks to the sidelines, and that's just good thinking and good work on the part of Calvin Williams.
He was the only Eagle receiver. And talk about an Eagle receiver that they missed dearly. There's Fred Barnett. They lost him the same game that they lost Randall Cunningham. He's had knee surgery, and they expect him back next year to be fine.
1st and 10 just outside the 10, and James Joseph picks up about 2.5.
A lot of credit ought to go to a good old buddy of mine, Lou Carpenter, who's been around a long time, but he's done a fine job with these Eagle receivers. Victor Bailey, the rookie, has performed well. Michael Young has come in, and we've watched Calvin Williams have a great year. And of course, there are the charges of Lou Carpenter, the receivers coach for the Eagles.
Looks like Bubby Brister is the one who's going after 3 consecutive years as the league's leading passer instead of Steve Young. 14 of 19. Got the Eagles on another quality drive right here.
They get things messed up here.
Man, another timeout by Philadelphia.
About the only thing they've done wrong.
That's got to be Brister getting the information from the read on the sidelines incorrect.
Well, I wonder if we'll have any fights up in Eagles coach's box tonight. Maybe some of Buddy's battling spirit has been left behind. All the things that happened yesterday. And yesterday was one of the great days in NFL history in terms of quality games. But what happens? This dominates everything. Kevin Gilbride there. Watch the right. There's Buddy Ryan with the right cross.
An awful right cross.
And Jack Pardee had something to say today.
Heat of the battle of the game. The players get emotional, and you know, the coaches do too. It's not the first time something like this happened, and it won't be the last time. It happened in public. It'll be solved in private.
Well, Pardee says it's not the last time. I would hope it's the last time that it happens on the Houston Oilers sideline.
Well, I think Bud Adams, the owner of the team, indicated as much today too.
Yeah. Buddy was in kind of over his weight, wasn't he?
It is 2nd down and 7 from the 8, and it's lofted, a fade pattern into the end zone to Williams, but he was out of the end zone, incomplete.
Safety blitz, Hanks coming right up the middle, and Brister almost was able to get it in there. Those Hanks coming unmolested right up the middle. Williams on the fade, and a couple of yards beyond the marker. Good coverage there by Don Griffin, right there with him.
It really was a good catch by Calvin Williams, who stayed with the football and made that grab, even though it was a couple yards out of bounds. The Eagles playing very loose, very relaxed, and very aggressive football.
3rd and 7 from the 8. Eagles lead by 14. All-out jailbreak blitz, and a flag down as Young catches it for the touchdown. Inside of Eric Davis.
Davis, I think, drew the flag, and it was a real fine pass by Brister, throwing it low where no way Davis could battle through it to get the deflection or the interception.
Pass interference, number 25 of the defense.
God, it's a really
That penalty is declined.
nice move by
Touchdown.
Michael Young, who makes it look like he's going to run a fade back into the corner, and then makes a break to the inside, and he fooled, see the move to the outside? He fools Davis badly with that, who's forced to grab him with the right arm and hold him. Michael Young, that was a very fluid move, showing that move straight into the corner and breaking back to the inside. Nicely done.
Roger Ruzek for the point after.
This is
Getting embarrassing.
This is getting ugly. 24-3 in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Real shocker.
And that's a sound you don't hear very often in Candlestick Park.
They are booing the defensive team as they come over to the sidelines. And George Seifert now is really faced with a quandary. What does he do with this ball club? Does he follow his prescribed plan and put Steve Bono and a lot of the other second-line guys in to get some work in the second half?
Or
does he go until he gets some quality play out of his starters?
Well, that's in a perfect world tonight. They would have had a nice lead, and Young would have been about 12 of 16, and out he comes. They bring in Bono, and Waters gets his work, and now what does he do? In danger of losing 3 of 4, week off next week.
I don't think there's a team in the NFL this year that's good enough to just have things go their way when they want it to go their way. No such thing as just saying, well, let's go out and turn in a nice workman-like performance, get done what we want to do. The 49ers aren't that good a football team.
And you know yourself, Dan, how difficult it is to turn this around. As a former player, when this starts to happen to you, I mean, you just can't just go in and make a gut check and turn it around.
Well, this is a quality football team they're playing, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't think they 49ers perhaps accepted them as that coming in with their 7-8 record.
You think all the things that went wrong with the Eagles had 4 guys in the Pro Bowl. Just 3 of them played for other teams. Eric Allen's the only guy still here. How about Reggie White, Keith Byers, and Keith Jackson? They're all going to be in the Pro Bowl.
Ruzek's kick is fielded by Dexter Carter. He brings it up to the 20-yard line. He's tackled there by Lewis Cooper. Well, the 49ers, we mentioned it at the very beginning, they went through a period where they looked as if they were the best team in the league. That 6-game winning streak, including that Monday night bombing of New Orleans, 42-7. Meanwhile, the game within the game continues. Steve Young began the game at 99.9. He's not had a good night. He's had 2 fumbles, but as we mentioned before, that doesn't hurt you.
And has Rice caught a ball?
That's not one of the components. 1. He's caught 1. Rice is in motion. Young sacked back at the 13.
Well, they'll be lucky if he didn't hurt his leg on that one. Andy Harmon nails him.
He's slow getting up.
Oh, boy, that was a serious shot to Steve Young's lower leg.
Well, that's why Seifert took him out of the Houston game. Some segments of the media, some fans criticize, but George had to look at the bigger picture. What if you lose your quarterback in a meaningless game?
Look at that.
Well,
Andy Harmon goes about 200.
Watch Steve's leg, though, slide. You see it slide? That saved him. That's what saved him. If those cleats would have dug in, and you know that's why a lot of people don't like artificial turf. That leg might have grabbed on artificial surface.
Waters makes the catch on 2nd and 17 and is run out of bounds up at the 23-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 8.
You know, that was a classic look at one of the differences between grass and artificial surfaces. Steve Young got hit on the lower leg, and his right foot slid along the surface of the grass. Kenny Wolf and Craig Janoff, let's get one more look at this. Watch his right foot. There's the hit by Harmon, but watch it slide. See it slide along the grass? That saves the knee of Steve Young. On AstroTurf, you gotta wonder if maybe that thing doesn't grab and hold, and he's got a serious leg injury.
3rd down and 8. Young firing to Rice. 1st down to the 50-yard line. His 2nd catch of the game and 94th of the season.
What a delivery by Steve Young. Right between the 2 defenders. Rice reading it with Young. Puts a little sprint on to the outside. There's the coverage by 29. That's Mark McMillan. And right in between the defenders. Rich Milano over late. But Young delivering it right on target.
Needs 6 receptions to become the 2nd player in history with 2 seasons of 100+. The other is Sterling Sharp, who's done it back-to-back the last 2 years.
A magnificent Sterling Sharp.
And John Taylor makes the catch, and he is out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Eric Allen right there.
Taylor is a nightmare for the defensive back who is away from Jerry Rice, because Taylor usually will get the single coverage if there is single coverage.
John Taylor
is one of the best in the business. Eric Allen, and still Allen has to respect the speed of Taylor to take it deep. He makes the cut, and Steve Young is right on target.
John Taylor is the Scottie Pippen to Michael Jordan.
Good way to put it.
That's
on 1st down, Waters to the 34-yard line. Tackled by Leonard Renfro.
Taylor actually has a better yards per catch average than Rice. He is a good running back after he gets the football. Both of them are. Taylor and Rice on either side. They're a danger every time they catch a short pass to take it the length of the field.
And another point about these two is we've documented so many times before, they're both extraordinary downfield blockers. Big parts of the running game.
On 2nd and 8, it is almost intercepted by William Thomas. So Thomas, who forced a fumble, comes that close to a pick.
We've got a 49er offensive lineman who's really struggling to get up. I think that was Steve Wallace, number 74. Again, though, Steve Young under pressure. Andre Waters on the safety blitz. Byron Evans comes on around.
Again, they don't handle it, Dan.
Well, they showed an inability to handle the blitz against the Oilers. The Eagles were very upfront, saying we are going to come after him tonight. Hey, this is good work getting ready for the playoffs, but it's only good work if you do well against them.
On 3rd and 7, Rice. And everybody looking for a flag, but they're not going to get one. Ben Smith with contact, and everybody in the joint waiting for that flag to come out, and it never came.
Well, 49ers are complaining that perhaps there was contact. I don't think it was inhibitive for Jerry Rice, as the ball was well overthrown. This is Ben Smith, number 26. You be the judge. I mean, Rice put the hands up. That's usually when Young goes to him.
That's a good non-call by the official.
I think it is too.
You know, from a distance, it looked like Smith was all over Rice, but that hand was between Rice's arm and Rice's body. That is superb work by the officials.
49ers were going for it on 4th and 7, and the Eagles didn't have the right people on the field, so Philadelphia takes a timeout with 3:17 to play in the half.
See, that's a good non-call by the official.
And Rice was one of the few who did not complain about it either.
No.
Outside, Doug, get in the game.
And your point about not being a catchable ball to begin with comes into play there as well, although that's not the reason there was no flag thrown.
That was the time
Bud
when the pass
Carson,
was
the
incomplete.
defensive coordinator for the Eagles.
And it wasn't lost on him, Al, what happened last week on the part of Houston and Buddy Ryan's blitzing defense here. I mean, they just made the 49ers look like amateur hour.
Well, at least, if anything has happened by that non-call right there, it's given the Candlestick crowd reason to boo something other than Steve Young and the 49ers team. At least now they're mad at the guys in striped shirts, although I think it's unjustified anger. But this is a sophisticated football crowd. They know that this team, as of right now, is not entering the playoffs on the most positive of notes.
4th and 7, 49ers down by 21, going for it as Steve Young has to get to the 27 and does. He's got the first down and takes a pop at the 24. And then Mark McMillan, who is 5'7" and 162, wants some more of Young.
Somebody will pick him up and spike him.
I don't know why McMillan bounced up the way he did and looked like he drove a knee into Young's chest and hit him again.
Why was he so happy? Young got the first down.
Oh, he's lucky he didn't get a call. Watch the end of this play. It's a foregone conclusion right here when he goes with McIntyre out front that he's going to pick up the first down. It's a good stick by McMillan, but he bounces up in a hurry and tags Young again.
10-yard gain in the first down, and Young floats one to the 16-yard line. Jones makes the catch, takes it to the 14.
Now that's nice work by quarterback, isn't it?
This is Steve Young.
Let's go back if we could take a look. Now watch Young. He's going to get hit by McMillan right there, 29. But look how quickly McMillan gets back up and drives his left leg. I know he's excited and exuberant, and when you're
Clyde Simmons
5'7", when you're
almost lifting him off the tarp.
When you're 5'7", 162, you don't get a chance to hit anybody that cleanly very often.
2nd and 1, they give it to Waters, a first down, and he takes it to the 3. We go to the 2-minute warning. It'll be 1st and goal. Joyner makes the tackle. Sapolo led the way with a good block. 2-minute warning. Eagles 24, 49ers 3. 49ers have a 1st and goal at the Philadelphia 3-yard line. Eagles on top 24-3, 1:57 to go in the first half.
You know, even if they get this touchdown and bring it to 24-10 and they go in that way at halftime, again, we'll go back to the decision that George Seifert is going to have to make. The team, this will be the first good drive that they put together tonight.
I think he's got to leave Steve Young in the ballgame.
On 1st and goal, Young to Rice, touchdown.
He needs 2.
That's number 124. Walter Payton has 100. Yeah, Walter Payton has 125 career NFL touchdowns, and the great Jim Brown has 126.
Jones pass complete to Jerry Rice for the touchdown.
That's his 16th touchdown of the season, 15 on receptions and 1 rushing.
Nice little kind of a pick out there as 84 Brent Jones just worked up into the end zone. But again, Philadelphia caught it man-for-man coverage against Jerry Rice. It doesn't work.
Kofor boots it through.
And you think of the phenomenal number of touchdowns that Jim Brown put together when you think of he did it in, 119 games, 118 games. And Jerry Rice is playing his 140th tonight. course, then you can say that Jerry Rice didn't get the call on second and goal either. First and goal at the 1-yard line. Those kinds of touchdowns are perhaps much easier to make than the ones that Jerry Rice has put together during his career.
Well, when you start challenging records that are held, and the two people you're chasing are named Peyton and Brown, you're in pretty rarefied air, wouldn't you say?
I think he is a rarefied receiver. I think he is accepted by anyone ever involved in this game as the best ever to play. Deion Sanders, I think, crowned him that after he got a hold of him in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago.
Well, when we talked to George Seifert last night, he knows about numbers, and he had said, hey, there are certain things we want to do on an individual basis. I think one of them is to get Rice to 100 catches if he can.
Right.
And one of them is to win the passing title for Steve Young.
And I would hope that, well, not hope, but George Seifert is not happy with the way his ball club has been playing. And there's a graphic illustration of where Jerry Rice stands in comparison to Peyton and Brown, and who knows how many touchdowns Jerry Rice will score before his NFL career is over, because it is, barring some unforeseen calamity, is going to continue for a long time.
Herschel Walker took the kick at the 6-yard line, and Walker is out of bounds at the 25. The Eagles do not have a timeout. They've used all three. The 49ers, should they elect to use them, have all of them remaining, all three of theirs. 1:48 to go in the half.
Steve Young, of course, as we documented earlier, in pursuit of an unprecedented third consecutive passing title, chasing always the ghost of Joe Montana here in San Francisco.
You know what's going to happen now, guys? I can see this now. Brister's going to go back to pass. He's going to fumble, and Bud Carson's going to run over and punch Zeke Bradkowski.
With the left hand this time.
You can feel it coming, Ken.
From the 25.
Well, he is going to throw.
Yeah, Brister dumps it off to Joseph. And Joseph gets hit by Hall up at the 33-yard line.
I think Hall hit his own guy harder than he hit Joseph. Hall came up and hit Michael Magruder more than he hit James Joseph. You see that a lot. A defensive guy comes up to stamp a good one on the offensive player. He moves a little bit, and his own guy ends up getting it more so. Watch Hall come in right there. He just cleans house on Magruder, and Joseph
wiped him out.
They will move a little bit on you.
2nd and 2, 1:05 to go in the half. Joseph takes it out to the 39-yard line. That's an Eagle first down. Philly on top 24-10, and the 49ers call a timeout to stop the clock with 54 seconds remaining. We were talking about that Houston situation and the Buddy Ryan punch last night, and I mentioned that Bud Adams had something to say today, the owner of the team. He said he was very concerned and disappointed. He understands it took place during the heat of the battle, but that does not excuse it, and he said that type of situation will not be tolerated within the organization. Gilbride, the offensive coordinator, was contrite today when he commented on it. He said it was an unfortunate incident. I'm embarrassed it took place. Meanwhile, Buddy Ryan simply said actions speak louder than words, strode from a podium to a room full of laughter.
Should anyone be surprised by that type of behavior?
Not by Buddy.
You know, you wonder one thing about Ryan. I mean, when you think about it seriously, maybe some other people around the league, perhaps looking for a coach down the line, might have thought, hey, wait a second, maybe we'll give Ryan another shot, and then something like that takes place yesterday. What does that do to Ryan's chances, the possibility he'll be a head coach somewhere else again?
You would have to be a real Buddy Ryan optimist, Frank, to say that in some way that helped him.
I think you hit it right on the head.
The man can
Not
coach.
on the jaw, but the head.
Yeah. The man can flat out coach. Talking about Buddy Ryan, that's beyond dispute. But there's more to it than that.
Here's Michael Young making the catch up at the 44-yard line, tackled by Eric Davis.
Really can't just go around punching out your offensive coordinator.
Well, I think you have to have some sort of a feeling for what type of a position do you put your head coach in when you behave like that. You know, Buddy Ryan has really put Jack Pardee in a really precarious spot by his actions on the sidelines. And I think as an assistant, you got to be a little bit cognizant of the feelings and the needs of the person who employs you. I don't believe that's unreasonable.
In the way of Buddy Ryan. They go all the way back to Chicago and the problems he had with Mike Ditka. Apparently,
here it is again.
Gilbride heard Buddy make some comment about a fumble and then Lackey picking up a blitz or something, and there was an exchange of words, and Buddy threw a pretty feeble-looking right cross. Probably he was better off that it didn't land. He's giving away some 30 pounds in about 3 or 4 inches. Where's Alex Waller when we need?
He'll be here at halftime, and we'll break this down. We've got the punch stat, and
I have Gilbride ahead on points here after the 6th round. The 49ers took that last time out, 2nd down and 5. The Niners trying to get the ball back before the half, and the Eagles trying to run the clock out. Here's a flag as James Joseph takes it up to the 49-yard line. Jerry Austin calling the game tonight.
Holding, number 72 of the offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
David Alexander, the center. 49ers, the 24 points they've given up, most they've allowed in the first half of a regular season game since 1982. That was the year after they won the Super Bowl. It was the strike year. 49ers had a terrible year, but it's the last terrible year they've had.
And the Chargers had somebody named Dan Fouts.
2nd and 15 from the 35-yard line. Joseph, he stopped near the line of scrimmage. The 49ers will take their final timeout with 34 seconds, but the Eagles can simply run the clock out. All they have to do right now is just run a play, and that'll do it. At halftime tonight, sights and sounds of 1993, and we'll have an opportunity to visit with the coach of the Detroit Lions, Wayne Fontes, whose team has had an unbelievable year, and there he is, Wayne Fontes in Pontiac, Michigan, coach of the NFC Central Division champions. And the Lions will be taking on the Green Bay Packers this Saturday.
The pride of Canton, Ohio.
Yes,
I thought you were.
Wasn't it a couple of years ago we had Wayne Fontes on? We were here in San Francisco.
Yes.
That's when the 49ers dismembered the Bears that night.
Wayne was looking on. And
they had a lot at stake that night because with the 49ers beating Chicago, it gave Detroit the Central Division title.
Made him light up that cigar.
Well, if Detroit beats Green Bay Saturday, their next game would be here on Saturday, January 15th. If Green Bay wins that game, the 49ers would get the winner of the Viking-Giant game.
Really unusual. 2 rematches coming up in the playoffs. We've seen them before, where the last week of the season 2 teams played and then had to play the following week, but now we're going to see it twice. The Packers and the Lions, and the Raiders and the Broncos.
Here's Walker up to the 40-yard line, and that will effectively end the first half. Eagles trying to finish the year at 500 with a mark of 8-8, and they're up by 2 touchdowns as we go to the break.
I would say they're going about it in a rather professional manner, considering this team after tonight, they're split. They're going home. The 49ers moving on to the playoffs.
At the half, Philadelphia 24, San Francisco 10. Back we come to halftime activities after this message from the NFL and a word from our ABC stations.
49er team tonight. That is his 3rd kickoff return of substance and the best of the group, and a good way to start the second half.
They've been doing this on all the returns tonight, getting that first little opening, and this time Carter makes just a little adjustment there down the sidelines. Good return by Dexter Carter.
60 yards, his longest of the season. Steve Young from the 38 gives it to Waters. Flag down as Ricky takes it to the 24-yard line.
There's a drive killer. That's going to be a holding call against San Francisco.
Holding, number 62 of the offense, 10 yards, repeat 1st down.
Guy McIntyre.
We saw early on in the game where Eric Allen took a shot at Ricky Watters, and I mentioned this is a guy whose reputation precedes him. He's a guy that folks just love to hit. That time a big hit by Andre Waters, a strong safety of the Eagles, and the holding penalty against the 49ers puts them way back, clear back at their 48-yard line.
1st and 20 at the 48. Beginning of the third quarter, Philly leading 24-10. Waters makes the catch, and Eric Allen helps him out of bounds at the 44-yard line. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by the all-new Ford Mustang. It is what it was and more. MCI and Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for a crisp, clean, classic taste.
What tones.
I mentioned that Ford Mustang. Wayne Fonz, when we had a chance to just visit with him for a second after we went off the air, he said, hey, make sure you pop my owner. He's been great to me, and he has been.
He's down at Rupert Hills, probably.
William
going around that track in about 82 or 3.
Second down and 16 from the 44. Young hit as he throws, but completes it to Jamie Williams. And the tight end takes it to the 33-yard line. Pressure that time put on by the blitzing Joyner.
I'll tell you, Seth Joyner could have killed him if he wanted to. One of the strongest guys at that corner linebacking position. No one even touches Seth Joyner. Steve Young had no clue he was there.
Well, you put 3 wide receivers to one side of the field, and then your lone setback is Ricky Watters, and he releases. When you flood one side of the field, you are exposing yourself to that backside blitz. The Eagles took the 49ers rather, took a calculated risk and paid for it with a big shot on their quarterback.
I like that about Joyner.
3rd down and 6. They had Rice lined up in the backfield, and he catches the pass coming out of the backfield and is out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Mark McMillan helping him out.
Well, now this is going to bring up a 4th down and about 4 yards to go, and I think the 49ers are going to go for it.
4th down and 5 yards to go. Jerry Rice tonight, that's 4 catches for Rice and 96 for the season. And here he is, wide to the left, 4th and a long 4 at the short 5 at the 32-yard line. And there is Rice making his 5th catch and enough for a first down on the 24-yard line. And a little shoving match.
It was McMillan
with Miano.
Again, it was the 5-7 McMillan. The initial coverage, he had help on the inside, but by the time he got that help, Young had put the ball into Rice. And well delivered between the 2 defenders.
Here's Waters to the 18-yard line. There's another flag down.
Well, we're going to get another hold against the 49ers, I believe.
Yep.
Holding number 62 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat first
McIntyre
down.
is going for the hat trick.
Change your number, Guy.
Pro Bowl bound, Guy McIntyre, along with his partner Jesse Sapolo next to him.
There he is, number 62. He's pulling and leading, and he locks up with Mike Flores. So once again, the 49ers are going to try to overcome a penalty that knocks them back.
1st and 20 at the 34. Opening drive, second half. 11:30 to go, third quarter. Eagles up by 14. Inside handoff to Tom Rathman. His first carry of the night is a beauty to the 18-yard line.
And do they love him here?
And what a stiff arm he puts on Eric Allen, number 21. Allen, one of the better cover guys in the league that time. Manhandled pretty good by Tom Rathman as he turns Allen's corner. Watch this right arm from Rathman. And he just shoves Allen away from him.
How embarrassing that is for a defensive back.
17-yard gain for Rathman, who missed half the season after undergoing shoulder surgery. He was injured opening day. Second down and 3 as Young throws too high, intended for Rice. William Thomas put the pressure on Young. One other thing, by the way, that went by when Rice caught that touchdown pass in the first half. He leads the league, and he will be the league champion in touchdowns this year with 16. He had come into the game tied with Marcus Allen and Andre Rison at 15.
He's in yardage, over, what, 1,450 yards coming in.
Sterling Sharp will end up being the leader in number of receptions.
3rd and 3 from the 17. Waters extends his arm, and he's very close to a first down. Clyde Simmons makes the hit.
Very close to popping that right into the end zone.
Boy, this is
a good save.
This is a lot of hard work involved in this drive by the 49ers as they attempt to overcome a pair of 1st and 20 situations. Going to bring in the chains from the sideline, which gives Steve Young a chance to talk it over on his sideline.
49ers have gone for it twice tonight on 4th down, and they'll have to do it a 3rd time here. They're 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions.
Well, I don't think the crowd needs to cheer on George Seifert if he went for it
4th and 7,
15
twice
yards farther away. I think he's going to go for it again here.
I think the thing I'm curious about is how long they're going to leave Steve Young in this game. Even if they get into the end zone, would they make the change as they did last week in the 3rd quarter with Bono? Don't know.
4th and inches at the 16, and the Eagles take a timeout. 10:25 to go in the 3rd. 24-10 Philadelphia.
Tuesday, we found Marino's notebook at that crime scene.
When Kelly's loyalty is put to the test,
Kelsey's name is in that book.
How far will he go to save a friend? NYPD Blue. Viewer discretion advised.
And there it is tomorrow. David Caruso starring in an all-new episode of NYPD Blue, ringing in the new year tomorrow night right here on ABC. 49ers after a Philadelphia timeout, 4th and inches. At the 14, send Waters in motion. There's all kinds of movement in the line. No flags, though. And Young keeps it himself and picks up the 1st down.
Why would you send your running back in motion so that if you know it can only be a running play with a quarterback sneak?
You get the defense to think too much, maybe, huh?
Yeah, well,
I guess.
Except all the guys in the middle know that they don't have to do anything as far as a running back is concerned. They can devote all their attention to the quarterback.
From the 13-yard line, Young lofting one, flag thrown. Taylor, the intended receiver, says good call. Eric Allen with the interference.
Well, they were both doing a little pushing and shoving there. Interesting to see who they call. Yeah, they're going to work it against Eric Allen. Yeah, we're
Pass interference. Number 21 of the defense in the end zone. 1st and goal from the 1.
Having a little counterpoint between John Taylor and Eric Allen.
Allen gets good position now. Gets in front of Taylor as he tries to come to the outside, and he just put his body in good position. Boy, that's a tough call.
Boy, that sure is. That looked like pretty solid coverage by Eric Allen.
Yeah, it was really good thinking. Allen knew exactly where he was going to go, and he placed his body right in front of Taylor.
1st and goal from the 1, and Young's going to throw, and it is a flag, a touchdown for Rice, but a flag down.
Now that might be a pick.
Line judge makes the call.
Well,
pass interference. Number 84 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat 1st down.
Brent Jones is plowing into his man, keeping him out of the coverage. Jones protesting that he was not guilty.
Jones was split all the way to the outside on that play. Even though he's the tight end, he was split all the way out, and Rice is there in the slot.
It's the same play they scored on earlier, and it basically is a little screen. As you can see, Jones pushing William Thomas, 51, right back out of the play, which he tried to switch off to Rice.
Well, you know what?
Jones was working against him.
I'm trying to figure out what Brent Jones did wrong on that play. He's just trying to release, off the ball. There's contact allowed in that 5-yard area.
First and goal. Here's Waters. Ricky Waters, touchdown.
Well, we talked about how efficient this team is in many ways, and we mentioned the fact that Jerry Rice and John Taylor are such effective downfield blockers. John Taylor's block out here on the point on Eric Allen.
How about Martin coming from way on the offside?
Well, you know those guys are good blockers. Barton, Tam, Sapolu, McIntyre, Steve Wallace on the left side.
Gopher for the point after. The 49ers overcame 30 yards in penalties on this drive to take it in. 9:32 left in the third. 24-17.
The universe is information. Information can be digitized. Digital data can be transmitted. Every book, every movie, every piece of knowledge in the universe, right here.
Because by knowing firsthand how a full-size pickup ought to work, they can make it work even better. That's why the Ford F-Series now has a new standard airbag, standard anti-lock brakes, and constant ideas to make tough even tougher. More proof that at Ford we're looking ahead and looking to stay ahead. Ford F-Series, the #1 selling truck, is built Ford tough.
The NFL postseason kicks off in Kansas City as Joe Montana and the Chiefs host the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's game 1 of a playoff doubleheader Saturday on ABC.
Ricky Waters, his 10th rushing touchdown, tying a team record, and it was last accomplished by Bill Kilmer when the 49ers were running the shotgun in 1961.
That great Hall of Fame running back, Bill Kilmer.
That made Y.A. Tittle expendable here. They traded him to the Giants, and he worked his way into the Hall of Fame.
At the 11-yard line, Herschel Walker takes the Gopher kick. And Merton Hanks takes him down up at the 26-yard line.
And for people who saw Billy Kilmer play out the end of his career for George Allen and the Washington Redskins, that graphic must have caught them by surprise.
His driving didn't improve later on either.
Kilmer, a single wing tailback at UCLA.
One of the good guys.
Oh, man, are you kidding me? One of the great people that has ever played this game.
Only guy I knew that could travel with Bobby Lane. Keep up with him.
To think that he and Sonny Jurgensen were on the same team together for a lot of years.
Neither one of them could drive.
Well, but they had a lot of other positive attributes about them.
First and 10 from the 27-yard line. Brister's pass is underthrown, intended for Bavaro. Davis with the coverage. Second and 10.
That just amazes me to think about it. The two of them, the same ball club.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Still a lot of records in the books. That quarterback on the right, Zeke Bratkowski, he put up some big numbers with the Green Bay Packers. Now the offensive coordinator for Philadelphia. Playing about the same time as Billy and Sonny.
Neither one of them could drive, huh?
2nd and 10 at the 27.
Well, talking about James Joseph lined up at tight end.
Catch is made by a diving Victor Bailey at the 33-yard line.
See, Joseph lined up at tight end there was causing the 49ers some anxiety as everybody was pointing him out, tucked in there next to offensive right tackle Antoine Davis.
Meanwhile, Brister making a good change. Bobby Brister started for 3 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers before Neil O'Donnell took over.
And we'll see those Steelers next Saturday morning in Kansas City.
You've got it. 3rd down and 4.
12:30.
Flag. Pass is batted, incomplete. Marker down at the 32. Carl Wilson got a hand on it. Jerry Austin indicating the penalty is, or he will be against Philadelphia.
Before the ball could be snapped, before the snap, false start. Number 68, 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
So no play. Tom McHale moving.
Tom McHale's done quite a job. This is his 3rd start at that critical left tackle spot. And he was brought in after several injuries over at that position and played about 5 years down in Tampa Bay, but he had played guard and they moved him out to tackle, and he has made a big-time difference for the offensive line of Philadelphia.
3rd and 9. 24-17 Eagles. 8:35 left in the 3rd. Fake draw. Brister chased by Wilson, sacked by Wilson.
Oh, what a fine play by Wilson. Working against Tom McHale, he was reading Brister all the way. Wouldn't let Brister get outside on him.
Yeah, really, you know, I think that's good pass protection by McHale. He's just running Wilson upfield, but Brister makes a decision to try to escape in that direction, and Wilson's all over him. Brister is drifting to the left and really runs right into Wilson.
That's an 18-yard sack. That's a sack and a half. And Fiegel's kick off the side of his foot and out of bounds in Eagle territory at the 47. So all of a sudden, the 49ers feeling a whole lot better about themselves. Down by 7.
I went out to buy a car and came home with a truck. Everybody saw my new Ford Ranger and said, "Are we in luck?" Now I've been driving non-stop because my girl likes to shop and my mom wants a fridge from way over the bridge. And my boss just bought a condo. Better start hauling pronto. My best friend says it's cool. Let's go cruising like we did in school. Don't get me wrong, Ford Ranger's the truck I'm gonna keep. I just wish I could get some sleep.
Classic television. Hogan's Heroes.
Green Acres.
Arnold Ziffer. Who played him? Nobody. He was the pig. Remember Family Affair?
Mr. French. I loved him. He's attractive.
Pete, Link, Julie. Okay, Ginger or Mary Ann?
Ginger was a bimbo.
Mary Ann. Mary Ann or Jeannie?
Beechwood Aged Budweiser.
Jeannie.
Crisp, clean, classic.
Comic Relief. 6.
If you have never watched the show, maybe you don't know how to laugh. So here are a few laughs that you can try at home.
There's the nervous laugh.
The polite laugh.
The big burly Viking laugh.
The 20 packs a day laugh. That's funny.
Now that you know how to laugh, join America's top comedians live for one of the biggest comedy events of the year.
And then there's the laugh that only dogs can hear. Ow!
Comic Relief 6, live and only on HBO.
Sunday, a network television premiere.
Glad you could drop in.
Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell.
Cash low! Yes!
Tango and Cash. Sunday, parental discretion advised.
A reminder, Thursday night in prime time, the men's finals at the Legs U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Brian Boitano among those who will perform. And then the women's final coming your way Saturday. Nancy Kerrigan and others U.S. Figure Skating Championships Thursday and Saturday here on ABC. 49ers as Young flips it to Rathman, and Todd angles forward to the 37, very close to a first down. Eric Allen and William Thomas make the tackle. As Steve Young begins this drive now, we mentioned at the very beginning he and Troy Aikman battling for the passing title championship. It's based on a formula that has as components number of passes, completions, yards, touchdowns, and interceptions. He almost has it clinched right now. We factored in, even if his next pass was an interception, he would still be in front of Troy Aikman. And George Seifert is very aware of this and wants Young to win for the third year in a row. 2nd and 1. Nobody's ever won it 3 times in a row. And this will only help some more. John Taylor, touchdown.
And he beat one of the best, Eric Allen, man for man. And it could not have been put up any more perfectly. Allen was not beaten that badly.
Well, talk about making the best of a bad situation. The 49ers absolutely stinking up Candlestick Park at the start of this ball game have come back to within 1 point of tying the ball game, and that is absolute perfection in the passing game, both in throwing and receiving. This has been quite a comeback by the 49ers, and much needed for a team that's been struggling.
Cofer ties it, 7-17 left in the third, and Young has done everything but clinch the passing crown.
Category.
Music.
Deep Purple, man. Classic.
Foreigner.
Huh? Yeah, man.
First album.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Meatloaf. Wonder what his friends call him. Meat?
Mr. Loaf. How about My Sharon?
Beechwood aged Budweiser.
Supertramp.
Crisp, clean, classic.
Frampton comes alive. Moment of silence, please. Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, all right. Hold on.
With full confidence, I submit to you an affordable economic package.
Senator, this will cost only $10.99.
$10.99.
The man's an idiot.
I'll say it again.
When somebody calls security.
$10.99.
What could anyone possibly get for $10.99?
I'm glad you asked.
Bigfoot Pizza from Pizza Hut with that special crust delivered for only $10.99.
Hey, Dad, who's going to sponsor this bill?
Bigfoot Pizza, a legendary value.
3 decades in the making. And worth its weight in gold. The all-new Ford Mustang. It is what it was, and more. It's Motor Trend Car of the Year.
Eric Allen wasn't beaten that badly, as you can see. Misses by inches of deflecting the ball. It was laid in there perfectly by Steve Young. Bud Carson on the sideline said, I gambled. I had Brent Jones covered. I had Jerry Rice covered. Statistically, they should have gone to him. They didn't.
And if you're going to lock somebody up in man-to-man coverage, you got to go with one of the great covermen in the game, and that's Eric Allen. You dance with who brung you, so to speak, and that time it just didn't work.
And they've got a lot of fine tools.
Steve Young over 4,000 yards. And Mike Cofer with a little extra adrenaline sends one 7 yards into the end zone.
Talk about a bit of a turnabout. How about this crowd here at Candlestick? Boos were the norm in the first quarter and the second quarter as well, and they're a pretty happy group right now considering that it's just a tied ball game, 24 apiece.
Like most crowds, what have you done for me very, very lately?
Now, what the 49ers have done for them lately has been very, very good.
7:10 to go, third quarter. Game tied at 24. At one point, the Eagles led 24-3. Brister on first down gives it to Herschel Walker. Gang tackled at the 22-yard line.
Frank, that's the point that I was making earlier about Herschel Walker. If if you can string him out and get him headed towards the sideline, and you've carried the ball certainly a lot more than I have in this league, making that sharp cut and going upfield is not his strong suit.
Well, if it is, he has never displayed it in 8 years. I'm waiting for it. He can do anything else, but he cannot plant that outside foot and make a sharp cut. And the whole idea defensively is to string it out, and you've got him.
Bono warming up, 2nd and 8 at the 22.
Whoa!
Romanowski with the sack. I would die to know what Seifert said at halftime.
I don't know, but when the offense starts to move the football like they have here in the second half, it's infectious, and it carries over to the defense, obviously.
Might have had something to do with those days off I promised you.
They are playing like a team possessed right now.
Well, a well-executed blitz right there. That's good work by everybody on the 49er front wall. Romanowski through the hole. Everybody's occupied. And not a stellar second half yardage-wise for the Eagles. A grand total of -24.
3rd and 22. And they flip it back to Joseph. Flag down. Joseph takes it up to the 17-yard line. Tackled by Merton Hanks.
Before the ball could be snapped, delay of game on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. It's still 3rd down.
That'll make it 3rd and 26.
Boy, when it goes, it goes. This has been about as disastrous a 3rd quarter as a team could have for the Eagles.
.47 remaining. 3rd quarter. Game tied at 24 on 3rd and 26. Brister pump faking. Going deep. Batted away. Bailey, the intended receiver, and Don Griffin batted it away.
Griffin getting help from the inside. He knew that Dana Hall was going to be working inside for him. Stayed to the outside, timed it out beautifully to deflect it away.
This was a heck of a throw by Brister. This ball is there. Looks like it's right off the helmet.
Don Griffin there also.
Guy was scrambling, running. That's great arm strength by Brister.
Jeff Eagles has his kick taken by Dexter Carter at the 50. And he brings it back to the 46-yard line. That's where the 49ers will take it when we return after this message from the National Football League.
This was Super Bowl 27. Los Angeles was host to the National Football League Sports Spectacular. But even before the players took the field, NFL Charities was already creating a lasting legacy. NFL owners met with community leaders and voluntary organizations. The vision was to build an NFL youth education town. Commissioner Paul Tagliabue.
We've made a commitment to work with the young people in the community here to give them opportunities that every young child should have.
You know, it makes me feel good to see that the National Football League and the players have chosen to get involved in South Central Los Angeles and the Compton area.
With the help of Garth Brooks and the United Way of Los Angeles, the NFL has given children more than a new youth center. They have given them a chance.
I've been working to improve my SAT scores for high school.
This is something we needed in our neighborhood for a long, long time, and the NFL has given it to us.
In the National Football League, they do more than just play football. Through NFL Charities, they show people they care.
Tonight, NFL Charities announced a $50,000 grant to the Pop Warner Little Scholars Program. Pop Warner is a national youth football and cheerleading program which emphasizes academic achievement. NFL Charities was formed so that the NFL clubs could collectively make grants to worthy national causes. In recent years, NFL Charities has made grant commitments of more than $14 million, or about half of maybe Steve Young's contract at this point. And well deserved. There he is. He's just won the passing title again, beating Troy Aikman, even though Aikman will get the start in the Pro Bowl.
No one's ever done that, interestingly enough, since they've been keeping records. And no one's ever been over 100, obviously, 3 years in a row.
He had a great line when somebody asked him if he would, how much he expected to play in the Pro Bowl, and he said, well, a lot of that depends on whether or not I decide to stay.
That's a great line.
Reference to Troy Aikman leaving early last year when Steve Young was playing in the second half.
Troy had somewhere to go.
I don't think anybody will be leaving early this year.
No.
But they'll take it seriously.
And they better not next year.
The snap, ball start. Number 64, 5 yards, but still first down.
Ralph Tam.
Now, new quarterback, different cadence.
Just a little early promo to remind you that our Pro Bowl coverage a year from this January will begin at 5 o'clock Eastern.
We think.
I think it's actually, is it going to be in January or February?
Well, whatever. February's up.
February, I think.
Details.
First and 15 from the 49-yard line. Jerry Rice has caught 5 balls tonight, 3 more, and it'll be at 100. Ricky Waters out of bounds at the 48. You know, I mentioned before that Seifert was very aware of where Young was. He told us last night he had his coaches telling him from time to time where Steve Young stood in the pass rating department. He said there are certain things I'd like to see our guys get. He got 1 for Young. I think he'd like to also see Rice get 100 receptions. He'll need 3. And if he can, you know, Ricky Waters to get over 1,000 yards, that's a little dubious at this point.
He'd like to win the game, too, I think.
Yep.
He would like to head into the playoffs feeling good about this club, better than he feels now.
2nd and 12, and the pass intended for Jones is intercepted by Byron Evans. A big night for Byron. Ran a fumble back for a touchdown and intercepts one here at the 31-yard line.
Byron Evans, we talked about earlier, had a broken arm and missed about 6 weeks of play. Britt Hager filled in for him, but Byron Evans is one of the fine middle linebackers around. He's tough to replace, one of those many injuries that hurt the Eagles early on, and this time Bono just a little behind his intended receiver.
Well, Brent Jones was never open.
Never.
No, there's no way you're going to complete that pass to Brent Jones. He was never open on the play, as Evans was between Bono and Jones the entire way.
Eagles at their own 31-yard line, 1st and 10. Brester nearly sacked. Floats one. Joseph makes the catch. He's inside the 30. Tackled at the 21.
What a play by Brester.
Dennis Brown flushed him out, nearly sacked him, and then he floats one into the arms of Joseph for a big gain, 48 yards.
I think every player on the front 4 of the 49ers had his shot at Bubby Brister, and this is just strictly what he does, maybe better than anything else, staying alive.
Now watch him direct traffic here. Telling Joseph, move on downfield, and there is Joseph. Watch him cover up the football, too.
That was a well-thrown ball, too. Never had to break stride.
1st and 10 from the 21. Backside screen to Herschel Walker. Inside the 10. Herschel Walker for the touchdown.
What a well-designed play. A fake screen to the right. 49ers went for it all the way. Brister with a terrific fake. And then back across the field to Herschel Walker.
Boy,
nice work, Rich.
He just runs right through the tackle of Merton Hanks.
What a fine series by Brister.
And how quickly this place got quiet.
Take a look at that again. Look at the little fake screen to the right. Now back to the other side. Walker with a good fake on that block. Picks up the one-man screen. Gets a good block.
Ruzek for the point after Walker gets into the end zone for the 4th time this season.
Alstom out in front of that screen with a good effort.
Herschel this year 1 rushing touchdown and 3 through the air.
You are not going to get Herschel Walker to the ground by grabbing him up around that 3 and the 4. He is one of the most naturally strong human beings that has ever carried a football in the National Football League. If you have ever spent any time around this guy in any of his other related activities, You know that this is one of the most versatile athletes that has ever walked on any field of competition.
People probably forgotten he was a world-class sprinter back in his days at Georgia.
I've spent some time with Herschel at some of the different Superstars competitions. When you see him in a kayak or riding a bike or any obstacle course, it doesn't matter what the athletic competition. He goes as the favorite into virtually every event in which he competes.
Not only just the athletic skill, but the intensity that he brings to everything he does.
That's the one thing the Eagles didn't know until they went to talk to him when he was a free agent.
Right. And Al and Frank, I'll be the first to admit, I'm one of the people, when I saw him in Minnesota, I thought his career was over. Remember the night we had the Vikings on a Monday night game against the Eagles and Herschel returning kickoffs? I thought this was a player who was finished.
We were embarrassed for him that night.
Well said, Frank. I couldn't agree more. And now it's gotten to the point where I think all of us are immensely proud of the way he's come back. Not just to be an average player, but to be a quality player in this league.
Ruzek's kick, fielded by Dexter Carter. Out to the 31-yard line, and as we mentioned before, I think being appreciated now more than ever because he came in with such high expectations, did Walker, after his years in the United States Football League and the Heisman Trophy winner at Georgia. And then, of course, you know, he's thought about in terms of helping Dallas win the Super Bowl when he got traded and Dallas was able to cash in, and everybody, as Dan said, thought he was done at Minnesota and now revitalized, and there are his numbers on the night.
Well, it isn't often nowadays that you lead your team in receiving and rushing.
First down from the 31-yard line. Ricky Waters picks up close to 5, takes it down to the 36.
Herschel Walker, if he took his USFL touchdowns and his NFL touchdowns, would have more than Jimmy Brown. He'd be 133. I'm being told from the truck. I'm not that smart.
61 in the USFL. Not that we're really going to combine these things because obviously the level of competition was a little different, but he'd have a lot more in the NFL had he gone to the NFL instead of spending 3 years with the Generals.
Regardless of the league, that's a lot of trips to the end zone. And we've talked before about Warren Moon and his combined passing yardage between the CFL and the NFL.
Jerry Rice, the intended receiver, that would have been his 6th grab. Instead, it's an incomplete pass, 3rd down and 6.
But you're seeing Bono when he nodded to the sidelines. That was a bad read on his part. That could have been picked off too.
What do we have, logos all over the face shields now?
I don't know. Not very attractive.
No. I'm not following that leader.
Eric Allen, who's already returned 4 interceptions for touchdowns this season, had his eyes set on that one.
Al, you are our leader.
And
if you believe that.
3rd down and 6. Here's Brent Jones, and he fumbles. Billy's got it at the 40. Byron Evans dislodged the football. So Evans has a fumble recovery, an interception, and a forced fumble, and Andy Harmon recovered it.
He does make things happen. He's not all that big. He's 6'2", 235 pounds, but he is the leader of this defense.
And he put all 6 feet 2 inches and all 235 pounds right on the football. Look at this form tackle as he puts the helmet right on the ball, and that's going to come out almost every. That was a direct hit. That was a bullseye on the football by Byron Evans.
2:46 to go, 3rd quarter, 31-24, Eagles. Rester going for 6, but out of bounds is Victor Bailey. Covered by Merton Hanks.
You know, Victor Bailey is a rookie who comes into tonight's game with 40 catches, who really, if it wasn't for the injury to Fred Barnett, really wouldn't have gotten much in the way of quality playing time for the Eagles. And here's a guy who's really had a chance to gain a lot of invaluable experience. There's Barnett on the sidelines, and what a fine wide receiver he is. When you stop and think about everything that has happened to the Eagles this season, the one thing about this club, they have never rolled over and gone toes up. They play every minute of every game.
2nd and 10. Joseph inside the 30. McDonald sends it out of bounds at the 24-yard line. I think the Eagles are more appreciated around the rest of the National Football League than they are in their own hometown. I mean, Philly's a tough place, very knowledgeable fans in all sports, and they have to live with this team day in and day out. But you talk to other people around the league, and they rave about the fact that Philadelphia is able to have as respectable a season as they've had.
This will be a very interesting offseason, though, for Philadelphia. Joyner, Simmons, Hopkins, Waters, all 4 of those guys defensively free agents.
It was rather interesting last offseason.
Yes, they can't afford many more like that.
Brister with a 49er draped around him. Dennis Brown had him by the ankle. Incomplete, 2nd down. Well, if you're Dennis Brown and your contract is predicated on sacks, that rule change made quite a difference this year, didn't it?
Yep. There are fewer sacks this year, aren't there?
Fewer. Well, because of the intentional grounding rule, the revised rule, and maybe the shorter drops and the emphasis on the West Coast passing game, or whatever you want to call it, the sacks are down coming into this game 13% this year. There it is. One every 12.8 last year, one every 14.7 dropbacks this season. 2nd and 10.
Look out.
Brister throws. Too high, intended for Young.
And Bubby's hurt.
Yeah, John Johnson came crashing in.
Don't roll him over too quickly, bud. Boy, Antone kind of... I wouldn't be yanking him up off the ground like that, I'd ask him first if he wanted to get up.
Get a medic, and Bubby wants out himself, and I'll tell you, he's got to be hurt. His left shoulder, I think. Man. Ken O'Brien loosening up.
I wouldn't want Antone Davis to be the first guy in an accident scene.
No. Oh, give me an IV, not this. Well, this is not laughable, but Antone, I mean, he's not even considering that something might be broken in him. But look at Brister, he's amazing. He really is. 3rd down and 10. He's still holding the left shoulder. Here's Herschel Walker, bulling his way to the 15-yard line. What was it? Brister dislocated a finger in the middle of the game-winning drive against Washington. Stayed in, didn't miss a play. Fourth down and 1. Walker coming up a yard shy.
Look at the far side of your screen. That is a tremendous pop that Brister has to take from Johnny Johnson.
32-yard field goal attempt here for Roger Ruzek. Jeff Feagles puts it down. And he screwballs it through. A little fadeaway shot. And that gives the Eagles a 10-point advantage. This game is almost characteristic of what the Eagles have been doing for the second half of this season. They just will not quit on you. They stay right with you, and they fight you all the way.
We could have used this baby in November.
Yeah. Who does Brister think he is? Jeff Hostetler? Not Hostetler. Is he amazing?
Yeah, really. Everybody knew who fouled the game that he would make a difference to the Raiders when he got there. Jeff Hostetler, a good football player.
What a great performance yesterday. Yeah. Well, next Sunday, our golf coverage for the new calendar year begins. The Mercedes Championship coming your way here on ABC Sports. You in the Pro-Am now? Not yet. Maybe next year. We'll be looking for you.
In another lifetime.
Yeah, right. You're hooked, baby. Into the clown's mouth.
Yeah, he's hooked, he's sliced, he's dribbled, he's air balls, he's hit them all. Tough game, fun game.
Stay a little Eddie Marin down there. He'll do some good for you. Can't do any bad, I know that. He's got a lot to work with, doesn't he? Jerry Rice, who has remained in the game. Rice will lead the league in touchdowns this year. The only mystery remaining is will he get 3 more catches and finish at 100. Roger Ruzek kicking off. Sends it down to the 1-yard line. That's Dexter Carter gathering it in. And he brings it back out to the 25-yard line with 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Another thing we haven't touched on, I don't think, is this is what, Rice's 106th consecutive start. And the way he comes across the middle, as good as anyone's ever played this game as a receiver, you just wonder somewhere along the line, you've got to get a shoulder, you got to get a knee, you got to get something. He is durable.
That's the longest current streak by any wide receiver in the NFL. He has started every game since the 1987 players' strike. So the durable Rice splits to the right on first down. Carter in motion. Bono off the play fake. The screen underneath to Jones. And he picks up about 6. You know, on the subject of durability, off the top of your head, at home, think of the 2 quarterbacks. There are only 2 quarterbacks that have started every game through the 1992 and 1993 seasons. Just 2 in the entire NFL.
Is this a quiz? Well, because we read it.
Yeah. For the viewers at home,
it's amazing.
The only 2 would be Steve Young and Jim Kelly.
Yes,
and yet both have been Young had the fractured thumb in preseason, and Kelly, you know, has been banged up so often you wouldn't think of Jim in that context.
No.
2nd and 4. Dexter Carter.
As many times as Frank Reich has gotten into a ball game for the Bills and made a difference. You're right, Jim Kelly is not the guy that would immediately come to mind.
Right. I think we've seen the last of Ricky Waters tonight. And that will take care of his 1,000-yard season or potential one.
By the way, if you're saying, hey, Kelly missed a couple of starts, those starts were in postseason only. He started every regular season game the last 2 years.
So we look at Dexter Carter again. What a tribute to Steve Young that he wins the passing title. We know full well how much that thumb bothered him for an entire half of the season.
End of 3. The Eagles lead 34-24, and back we come with the 4th quarter of Monday Night Football after this on our ABC station.
Brian Dennehy is Dr. Brian McKenzie.
You got me.
Sometimes he's lucky.
I thought I'd surprise you.
I'm surprised.
Sometimes he's not.
Come on, you lousy gnat! I'm just trying to do my job.
But if you need help, he's the best friend you'll ever have.
You think you're crazy, but I know that you're not.
Brian Dennehy, Birdland, premiering Wednesday.
I'm Dave Franco for Action News. The winter storm has hit the Delaware Valley with a messy mix of rain, sleet, and snow. What kind of a morning rush hour will we have? The latest from AccuWeather after football tonight.
And action.
McDonald's Egg McMuffin sandwiches. They don't really do anything, but they taste really good. And starting this Tuesday, you can get 2 of them for just $2.
And cut. Thanks, guys. That was great.
The surface of a strange, distant planet? No, 2 tantalizing McDonald's Big Mac sandwiches. Starting this Tuesday, you can get them both for just $2.
What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Deep in the remote jungle? Nope, 2 Big Macs for $2. You mean you forgot already?
There's a new kind of energy around here. A company that can meet your energy needs well into the next century without building even one new plant, which means no large increase in the cost of your service. A company whose oil-fired generators will also run on natural gas. Another way to help keep your bill down. There's a new energy company around here and a new name. Pico Energy, focusing our energies on you.
No work, no welfare. Next Donahue.
Norman Brayman, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, watching his team begin this 4th quarter up by 10. And the 49ers have it 1st and 10 at their own 39-yard line as Dexter Carter on a sweep to the right side picks up a couple and a flag goes down. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. Final quarter of the 1993 regular season. Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Jerry Austin is the referee, and the ball is holding.
Number 64 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
Ralph Tan, the guilty party. When we talk about career pass rating, Steve Young is 2nd all time, and there it is, 93.0. Who would be first? Well, he can't escape it. Joe Montana.
No, but if you stop and think about it, Steve Young has posted 3 consecutive seasons with a quarterback rating in excess of 100. Joe Montana still playing, of course, for Kansas City, and if Young keeps going in this direction, he's going to pass Montana. And pretty remarkable that they both played for the same football team, and both of them for quite a while at the same time.
1st and 20. Bono. And no fumble. He was down. Andy Harmon knocked him down.
Talking about playing with the same football team, it's also remarkable that number 80, Jerry Rice, as great as he is, happened to come along with Bill Walsh and then George Seifert, Eddie DeBartolo, the owner, who has had quality players in here no matter what it cost. And it's a lot better to be one of those skill guys when you've got big guys, well-paid guys, the best in the league up front.
That's the old, what got here first, the chicken or the egg? When you think that there's been such gifted receivers as Brent Jones and Roger Craig and John Taylor and Freddie Solomon over the years, Dwight Clark. It has definitely been where one hand has rubbed the other. It's been, I don't know that in the history of this game there's ever been so much passing talent.
Before the ball was snapped.
In one place at one time.
And 5 yards. It's still a second
Not
down.
only recently, but go back to the history of this franchise. Remember, Frankie Albert was the original quarterback here. And then Y.A. Tittle and
Gordy
John
Saltall.
Brody. And Jim Plunkett was here. And Stephen DeBerg even cut his eye teeth here before leaving. And then, of course, Montana and Young. So it just goes on and on and on. 2nd and 28 from the 20-yard line. Rather dubious beginning to this 4th quarter.
Offsides, number 90 of the defense. 5 yards, it's still second down.
He's easy to spot.
Somebody also pointed out that if you quarterback the 49ers, you get to play 8 games here at home. You also get to play 1 in Los Angeles. You play 1 in New Orleans. You play 1 in Atlanta. So you play in relatively good conditions. Phil Simms of the world, I mean, they're in that weather all the time. It's a different game.
2nd and 23. Bono throws. Carter makes the catch. And Dexter Carter takes it out to the 39-yard line. Evans makes the tackle.
Bono, of course, had a great 1991 season when Montana was hurt. Young was hurt. He came on, and out of 234 attempts, he had 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 59% completions. And everyone thought he was going to be moving on, and they kept him around.
3rd and 10 at the 39-yard line.
Here comes everybody.
Well, Steve Bono's cadence has everybody moving. Sometimes his own players. This time it appears the Eagles once again.
Offsides, number 59 of the defense. Unabated to the quarterback. 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
Seth Joyner, who along with Clyde Simmons have been offered or were offered new deals, turned them down. But the Eagles say they still want them back. Those deals that they were offered are not on the table because those deals were structured to take advantage of the pre-salary cap conditions.
In the latest NFL terminology, they were front-loaded. The majority, not the majority, but a great deal of the money payable this year, so it was not to be accounted for down the line and be counted against the salary cap.
Meanwhile, the 49ers take a timeout with 12:15 remaining in regulation and Philly up by 10.
Michael says, think big.
Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to Bakersville?
Sure. Take 23 north to M34 east to I-14 south, and you're there.
Thanks.
You bet.
Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to Bakersville?
Head right over those mountains.
Thanks.
Cody loves older women.
The 49ers are going to Atlanta, huh? Side of the Super Bowl. Well, first things first for them, they'll be here a week from Saturday. If Detroit beats Green Bay, the 49ers will face the Lions. If Green Bay wins that game, then the 49ers play the winner of the Viking-Giant game. Third and 5 after the timeout. Bono throws, and Jerry Rice is there for a 6th catch, a number 98 for the season, and a first down.
Bono fired one in there about ankle high, and Jerry went down and dug it out. You can just go on with all the superlatives about Jerry Rice, and the thing that we haven't talked about is his work ethic. I know, Dan, in a previous game we had with him, you talked about it, but this guy is out on the field before anyone else, stays out after they've gone in, works by himself. He's an incredible athlete.
Complacency is not in his vocabulary.
First and 10. Bono.
Okay, Brent.
And there's Brent Jones, the tight end, taking it to the 35-yard line, very close to a first down.
Andy Harmon running Steve Bono into the sidelines.
But again, anytime a quarterback's in trouble like this, he needs help. And that's a nice piece of improvisation by both players. Bono staying alive, moving outside, but Brent Jones breaking off his pattern, coming all the way across the field, and then heading in the opposite direction to make himself a target.
A first down at the 35-yard line. Mark Logan is in the game. He and Dexter Carter in the backfield. Everybody goes into the pass pattern, and the pass is underthrown, intended for Jerry Rice. Covered by Ben Smith. 2nd and 10.
John Taylor is getting a little breather for the 49ers as we look at Rice against Ben Smith. Bono threw it low. Ben Smith not exactly sure where he was on that, but he knew he was in trouble. But Nate Singleton is in there for John Taylor.
Guys, here comes hypothetical question number 1. I know Jerry Rice would like to have 100 catches, but at this point in the ballgame, with the playoffs ahead, I'm not so sure I'd have him in there.
2nd down and 10. And Rice juggles, and that's one of the reasons why you're not sure you'd have him in there.
No,
right there.
I'd take him out. I just don't think that the gain is worth the risk.
Well, you might have just got the answer right here.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't see where there's that much to be gained by his getting 100 receptions. There is a bigger picture here for the.
Sanjay Beach came in, but he just came in as an extra wide receiver, and Rice will stay on in 3rd and 10.
In terms of a quest for a Super Bowl, a couple more receptions during the regular season for Rice is relatively insignificant.
3rd down and 10. And this time the catch is made by Nate Singleton. About 4 yards shy of the first down. Well, the overview is why Seifert took Young out of tonight's game when he did, and why he took Young out of the Houston game when he did.
I think there's no question they'll go for the field goal. They're going to need to score twice. They're going to need a 3. To have such a thing as a fake in their repertoire probably wouldn't be out of the question.
Bono will hold, so he's a good guy to fake it with. And
more than
will
that,
attempt a 47-yard field goal, if in fact he does attempt it. And he does, but it's no good. Tough crowd. Real tough.
Them or us.
This is the Eagle Vision TSI. With an 11-speaker spatial imaging sound system, solar control windshield, even driver and front passenger airbags. Eagle Vision is the result of asking people what they wanted in a sports sedan. That's why we also included a 24-valve, 214-horsepower engine, as well as anti-lock brakes. Those of you who asked for a simulated wood grain dashboard, we've got bad news for you.
It began as a friendly game. Then it took on a life of its own, changing the way you look at football and beer. But if you think you've seen everything, just wait. You haven't. Grab a ticket wherever you buy Budweiser, Bud Light, and Bud Dry. You could win $1 million. Bud Bowl 6. It's gonna blow you away.
They come every year before the big game.
The Clump Brothers.
Clump Brothers.
Super Bucket.
15 pieces of original recipe or extra tasty crispy?
Original recipe! Wrestle ya!
But they can never choose between original recipe with 11 herbs and spices or extra tasty crispy marinated and extra crunchy.
Get both. Both? 15-piece Super Buckets are just $9.99 each.
We do chicken right.
After you.
After you.
After you.
After you.
After you.
1993's big winners tee it up in the first golf showdown of the new year. It's the final round of the Mercedes Championship, Sunday on ABC Sports.
Home of the world champions. They won 4 titles, hopeful of a 5th. Candlestick Park in San Francisco, 9:49 left, 4th quarter. 34-24. Eagles on top.
Should have left it down.
Bubby Brister takes over at the 29-yard line after the missed field goal by Cofer. And Herschel Walker gets tackled by Mike Walter at the 30.
How about that performance yesterday by Emmitt Smith?
Amazing.
He ends up being the NFL rushing leader, missing the first 2 games of the season, then has to get into shape and everything else. And
I've had a partially separated shoulder myself. I honestly don't know how he could handle the pain of it.
No,
what a great performance against a really great showing on the part of that Giants team also to take him into overtime.
2nd down and 8 at the 31-yard line. And Brister has it intercepted by Don Griffin.
It's the first interception that Brister has thrown in a while.
Griffin's pick gives the 49ers the ball back, his 5th of the season.
Tom O'Keefe is in the grip of a really tough cold, but he's about to break free with an effervescent rush of relief. Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. Pills take time to dissolve, but Alka-Seltzer Plus is ready the moment you take it, rushing powerful medicines to soothe your aches, relieve your runny nose, free your breathing. Nothing rushes relief like Alka-Seltzer Plus.
From the people who invented the minivan comes the minivan celebration of the decade. Savings on our safest minivans ever. Get $500 cash back on Plymouth Voyager, Grand Voyager, Chrysler Town & Country, or lease Plymouth Voyager for this amazingly affordable lease rate. Save with a lease. Save with $500 cash back during the 10th anniversary celebration. Only at your Chrysler Plymouth dealers.
For Green Bay, it's a matter of revenge. For Detroit, there's no place like Dome. Arch rivals collide in Game 2 of our doubleheader Saturday on ABC.
Bubby Brister just throwing his 5th interception of the season. And the 49ers take over at the Philadelphia 42-yard line.
Bubby's right up there with the NFL leaders as far as interceptions per attempts. They've been on a pretty good run.
Good pickup for them. Brister coming over when Jim McMahon chose to sign with Minnesota. It was Bubby when he came off after that interception.
Don't tell Bubby this game doesn't mean anything.
Here's Bono back to pass. Mark Logan makes the catch. Takes it to the 34-yard line. Logan, who filled in very admirably for Tom Rathman for half the season when Rathman went out with that shoulder separation. Did a very nice job.
He did a super job. Former Cincinnati Bengal and Miami Dolphin, and it's a good thing they had him around.
Rice is on the bench, so your words, Dan, were well heeded by George Seifert and company, and he'll most likely finish the year with 98 receptions. 2nd and 2 at the 34-yard line. Tex McCartney takes it to the 31.
I like to watch Jerry Rice play at any time, anywhere, but there are, running the risk of winning the cliche award, bigger fish to fry for the 49ers than getting Jerry Rice for his getting him his 100 receptions.
You just won that award.
Thank you very much. It's too late for that.
Top observation.
You or me.
First down for the 49ers at the 31-yard line. Joyner.
Joyner got that one. Again off the corner.
Seth Joyner, one of the best around. He got 5 touchdowns on interceptions and fumble returns. Superb athlete. I've had him in the superstars. Dan and I were talking earlier about Herschel Walker. I've had Seth Joyner. He won the weightlifting, and he's not much of a weightlifter. A lot of speed, and of course it's going to be interesting, as we pointed out, to see what happens with him next year. Both he and Simmons, I don't think, had the kinds of year that they did in the past with Reggie White, but nevertheless they are quality players.
2nd and 10, and that's deflected again. That time Andy Harmon got a hand on it.
I think the fridge just stepped on the football. Might be time for a new one.
You tell us about that Stairmaster.
Yeah, I think William was doing a little high stepping there. He might have caught the ball. I'd say we give this baby a check.
Well, then Stairmaster is an industrial size Stairmaster.
Harmon got the ball.
I'll tell you, their weakness against a run.
We want to play, baby.
Really changed when the fridge arrived.
He blew out his jersey. Whoa. Well, you might have sneezed and blew out his jersey there.
3rd and 10 as Bono guns one to the far side, and it is caught there by Nate Singleton.
I'll tell you, that's pretty.
First down to the 18-yard line with 7:25 remaining in the 4th.
And Bono had some heat on that ball. Deep out for the first down. Good shot of it here. That's Eric Allen, 21, on the coverage. And a good plant there by Singleton. The ball on the way just as he planted that foot.
Boy, just that subtle break to the inside, that half a step move, faking the post pattern and then breaking back to the outside. Nice work that time by Singleton.
First down from the 18. Dexter Carter again for a pickup of 2 to the 16-yard line. Well, on we go to Kansas City. The playoffs begin Saturday. Chiefs against the Steelers at Arrowhead. Then Green Bay, Detroit. Other games on Sunday, Minnesota and the Giants, and the Raiders against the Broncos.
We're not used to doing football games without football games in between the games we do. We're doing the last game of this weekend and the first game of next weekend.
Well, how about daytime games? We like to hang by our feet.
2nd and 8. Bono takes off and slides to a halt at the 4. First down.
You're insinuating that we're creatures of the night. We hang by our feet.
Well, daytime's tough on us. We'll be kicking off when we usually have a production meeting.
1st and goal at the 5. You know, we were talking about Emmitt Smith before, Jimmy Johnson earlier today said that he does not anticipate that Emmett will practice until at least a week from today.
I bet on it.
So the Cowboys await their first-round playoff
which dramatically tells you what would have happened if the Giants would have won that game and the Cowboys would have had to play this coming Saturday.
Catch is made at the 1, but not in is Brent Jones. He gets to the half-yard line.
Talk about a colossal win by the Cowboys if they were forced to play this coming Sunday instead of the Giants playing. You'd think that there's a good chance they would have had to play that game without Emmitt Smith. And we all know that's a vastly different team without number 22.
Yes. Our opener closed tonight, but our opener was Washington Redskins defeating the Dallas Cowboys a few years ago, it seems like.
Second and goal. And Bono in for the touchdown.
Well, they keep working away. With an extra point, they'll get within 3.
Look at Bud Carson. There's some speculation that as to what he will do next year. One of the extraordinary defensive coordinators this game has ever known. Former star, a great coordinator with the Steelers, their glory years, as Bono takes it in with the sneak. There's some question as to what Bud Carson will be doing next year.
Mike Cofer for the point after Bono scores his first touchdown of the season. Extra point is good. 4:41 left in regulation. 34-31 Philadelphia.
Overtime.
Historically, Chrysler luxury liners have had all the excitement of a bowl of prunes, said Motor Trend magazine. Enter the Chrysler New Yorker. 24 valves, 214 horses, and award-winning cab-forward design.
Come on, get the lead out.
No prune, but it is available in black cherry. The Chrysler New Yorker, an eloquent expression of form following function.
ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. KFC, try the Colonel's new rotisserie gold chicken. At KFC, they do chicken right. And Transamerica, for life insurance and financial services, the power of the pyramid is working for you. Our stellar crew.
That's the longest Richie Westline has ever remained stationary. Upright.
You're sure of that? Well, Mike Cofer will kick off. Bono and Steve Young going over things. Herschel Walker ready to run the kick back. 4:41 left in the fourth quarter. 34-31 Eagles. Bouncing kick by Sikahema. Brings it back out to the 31-yard line. Well, it's the end of the regular season, so we'll go through some league leaders. Smith wins the rushing crown third year in a row. 5.3 yards per carry. The league average this year, 3.9. Thurman Thomas, the durable one, leading in attempts. Marcus Allen, rushing touchdowns. He had 12 and 3 through the air. Young wins the pass rating title, third year in a row. Yards per pass, 8.7. That's terrific. Elway edges Young in yardage by 7 yards, and Young throws 39 scoring strikes to lead in that department. 29. From the 31, Brister flips one out to Herschel Walker. And he's run out of bounds after a gain of 3. Some other leaders. The receivers, Jerry Rice, of course, here tonight. Always up among the leaders in certain categories. Sterling Sharp, 112 most receptions. yards on catches. Rice again. James Jett of the Raiders, 23.4 per reception. And Rice and Rison each caught 15 touchdown passes. But as we said before, Rice led the league in touchdowns because he also had 1 rushing for a total of 16. Walker makes the catch and is taken down at the 36-yard line.
Don't you know that pleases Al Davis and Art Shell when they have a receiver that leads the league in yards per reception? That's Raider philosophy at its very best as they stretch the field. Of course, Jaeger ends up leading the league in points scored with 132.
Norm Johnson, a terrific year, and Greg Montgomery in punting. Mike Horan of the Giants.
Look at that by Norm Johnson, 96.3. Only missed 1 field goal the entire season.
That is truly amazing.
That is.
And Horan going to Giant Stadium, where it's vastly different, certainly, than it was at Denver.
Nate Odoms and Eugene Robinson tied in interceptions. Mike Bankston of Phoenix recovering opponents' fumbles. Eugene Robinson in takeaways. Neil Smith, and we'll see him on Saturday in the wild card game, led the league in sacks this year with 15. By the way, with Jeff Jaeger, Jaeger tied the NFL record for most field goals in the season, 35. Now owns that mark along with Ali Haji Sheik, who did it with the Giants. Tyrone Hughes, the rookie from Nebraska, led in punt return average. Robert Brooks of Green Bay in kickoff return average. Eric Metcalf, combined yards are rushing, receiving, and kick returns. Yards from scrimmage, rushing and receiving only, and Emmitt Smith with 1,900.
Eric Metcalf with the combined yardage. That's a figure that his father led the league in, and at one time held the NFL record for most yards.
He do about 300 of those against Pittsburgh Steelers, didn't he?
3rd and 5 after the 49ers took a timeout to conserve some time. 4:13 left on the clock. Rister throws to the wide open Herschel Walker, and he takes it to the 49er 45-yard line and a Philly first down.
Rister reading that blitz and did not even attempt to drop into the pocket. He knew he did not have enough blockers. It was a full blitz coming by the 49ers, and he just started in a sprint to the sidelines looking for, here he is, looking for a receiver. He knows he's in trouble. And Herschel Walker pulled up, got him an open spot. Rister was able to get it to him.
100 yards tonight from scrimmage for Herschel Walker. Rister, meanwhile, is over the 300-yard mark in the air, 311. And now Philly will use the clock as James Joseph bangs his way to the 35, and it might be a first down. Merton Hanks with the tackle. And it is. So the Eagles now will use as much of the clock as they can, and reaching for his hamstring is Joseph. And I suppose if you're going to have a hamstring problem, there's no better time than with 3 minutes to go in the season. Little time to recover.
Easy for you to say.
Well, true. Anton Davis will probably drag him off the field.
Rister counting it down to the final second on the play clock.
EMS Davis.
Right. Oh! That goes real good with a hamstring pull, doesn't it? Woo. Tim McDonald.
He does bring a load when he hits you.
Well, the hamstring doesn't hurt anymore.
It's a long 3 minutes left in James Joseph's season. Woo.
Tim McDonald on the way to a Pro Bowl, one of 7 49ers. 4 of them across that offensive front 7. It came in quietly from Phoenix as one of the better safety men in this league. Was an unprotected free agent this year and is on the way to Honolulu.
2nd and 10 at the 35-yard line. Joseph, he's wrapped up at the line of scrimmage by Dana Stubblefield. Now the 49ers elect to utilize their final timeout, and the clock will stop once more at the 2-minute warning. So James Joseph straining a hamstring and then taking 2 pretty vicious pops here.
You know, either that, he might have a cramp too. He grabbed the other leg a moment ago.
A timeout call by the 49ers. Well, our executive producer through all of these glorious weeks, Jack O'Hara. Ken Wolf, as always, completing his 8th year. A fabulous job in the truck. And Craig Janoff completes his 6th as our illustrious director. for Joey Chavo, and he's been here almost since day one, our technical director. And
he looks like
best.
it.
Yes, he does.
22 years, I think, now.
And Harvey, our associate director, the traveling man, Dick Buffington, and Emily Deutsch produced our halftimes this year. Andrew Becker, the associate producer. Bob Simon, Ed McKenna, Dennis Szabo, and Jim Licata putting the crew together every week. Fred King and Margaret Schaefer doing a terrific job as always. The Hurt guys, Steve and Peter, when Steve was away doing baseball, handling our information. George Hill, Malibu, Kelly Hayes, and Kirsten Anderson keeping everything going up here in the booth. Bill Monahan on the sideline, and Mark Amento and Brian Mogelson with the computer stats. And the rest of the gang doing a great job putting this all together, and our traveling band of gypsies, our cameramen, our tape operators, and all the boys and girls, a fabulous job again. 3rd and 11 at the 36-yard line. Rester intended for Young and incomplete. And so the 49ers are going to get it back. John Johnson put the pressure on that time. And the rest of the gang, a lot of people in New York and around the country. B.O.N.E. is what it's called. And our guys, and there they are. Every crew likes to say we've got the best cameramen in the world. We do.
We mean it. Boy, some of those guys have been here a while. Drew, he goes back to the beginning.
Black and white.
Next year, our 25th year of Monday Night Football coming up.
Jeff Feagles to punt. Carter's going to let it go, and is it saved at the 1?
Either way, it would have been.
Otis Smith saving it inside the 5-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 3, at least for the moment, pending a conference.
Well, I think had he just let that ball bounce, it would have gone out at about the 1-yard line. Of course, you never know, but it looked like it was going to catch the corner.
The kicker batted the ball prior to going into the end zone. Therefore, it belongs to San Francisco, where it went out of bounds. 1st and 10.
Nifty piece of ball work by Otis Smith.
Very nifty.
It looks like Kenny Anderson driving the lane. That's nice. So a long way to go to get a field goal to tie this up for the 49ers.
And a lot of people out there haven't played much together.
Our videotape crew right there.
Giabella represented there.
The wildest gang in the business. We love them.
Dogs bark and the caravan moves on.
Yes, sir. Without a timeout from the 3-yard line, the Niners trying to get into field goal range, and the catch is made by Nate Singleton.
Nate Singleton has made a couple of good moves tonight.
Up at the 36-yard line.
Well, this game is right in sync with what we saw yesterday and last night in the National Football League. A lot of quality football, a lot of very competitive football games, and this no exception.
Here's the 2-minute warning. Back after this message from the NFL.
He was perhaps the greatest running back the game has ever known. And on the day he set the NFL's all-time rushing record, his uniform was sent to the Hall of Fame. His own arrival was only a matter of time.
Hi, I'm Walter Payton. My induction into Pro Football's Hall of Fame is an honor that will always be special to me. But that honor was made even more special because my son Jared presented me for enshrinement, something that no other son has done for his father.
Your friends and your fans, I say congratulations to.
We're both thrilled with the Hall itself, a treasure chest of football history with its regal enshrinement gallery, its action theater, its authentic mementos and exhibitions. From 100 years of pro football, the Hall does more than celebrate the game I love. It lets the future touch the past.
The Hall of Fame, where legends never die and the season never ends. This message furnished by the National Football League.
And back with 2 minutes to go, the balance of our crew as we go through all the names of the folks who have brought you Monday Night Football. The 18 regular season weeks, 4 preseason games and onto the wild card this Saturday.
Memorable year in many ways, as they always are.
Yeah.
Enjoyed spending my hours with you guys.
It's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
And glad it's coming back to ABC for the next 4 years. It's a very special happening every Monday night. So proud to have been a part of it in 23 years. And Al, you're what now, 8?
Yeah.
Dan, 7. Longest continuous group of Monday night announcers we've ever had on the package.
Proud to be a part of it. Darn right.
49ers trying to close this one with a flourish, down by 3, 1st and 10 from the 36. Mark Logan makes the catch, spins his way into Philadelphia territory to the 48. San Francisco does not have a timeout. 16-yard gain after a 33-yard completion to Singleton. Niners starting from their own 3, have it at the 48. 1st and 10, Bono retreats, flips it to Logan. And they're in field goal range. He's to the 30-yard line. Byron Evans makes the tackle.
Mike Koper is not one of your long kickers, but they're well within his range, and he is very accurate when you get him inside 40 yards.
With 1:12 to go, Bono throws it away. Everybody covered. 2nd down. 1:08 remaining.
What are we looking at here? About a 46-yarder?
That would match his season's best. He's missed twice from 50 yards and out. Career best. He's had one from 56 way back in 90, but he's not known to be a long kicker.
2nd and 10 from the 29-yard line.
They got plenty of time to run the ball.
Ooh. Well, Clyde Simmons came across. Was he induced? Simmons, who will be a free agent in 1 minute and 8 seconds. On the clock. Yeah, right.
Before the snap, false start on the right guard.
Ooh.
5 yards. It's still 2nd down.
Ooh, that'll move it back in jeopardy of
defensive pass interference, number 29. 1st down.
If this game was for something of import, this would have everybody here going absolutely crazy. No question as to whether or not that was interference.
That wouldn't be Sanjay Beachy. That'd be Jerry Rice.
Yeah. And it'd be Steve Young throwing it to him.
Automatic 1st down at the 26-yard line. 1st and 10. Bono throws over the middle and incomplete, intended for Mark Logan. William Thomas with the coverage. Clock stops with 1:02 remaining.
Well, 2nd and long, I'll try it again. I would think that Bud Carson ordinarily would come with some kind of blitz action, trying to back up the potential field goal.
Run the risk of the big play, but
you run the risk of giving it all up.
Yep.
You also put the heat on, and it does not look like blitz.
On 2nd and 10 from the 26. Dexter Carter to the 13-yard line and out of bounds.
You know, the one thing you have to think about here is that if you're George Seifert and you're going into the playoffs, you're trying desperately to score a touchdown. You don't really want to kick a field goal and send this game into overtime. You don't want to run the risk of getting somebody hurt. You're going to do everything you can do to stuff this thing in.
Your offensive, all your key players out, you think of, at least celebrity types, are out of the game, but your guys that make it go are still in there. Guy McIntyre, Jesse Sapolo, Tam Wallace.
You know, a part of Seifert, when it comes time to kick the field goal, if they have to, would just as soon not do it.
On 1st down, Eric Allen nearly had the interception.
You know, this is, if it comes to that field goal decision, and then we've got an Eagle down on the field.
Mike Flores.
You know, if it comes right down to this, fellas, just stop and think. You know he's going to have to do it. He'll end up kicking the field goal and sending this into overtime. But he has proved his point. Nothing is going to be gained really by how well they play in overtime. If your goal is to get your team ready to go into playoffs, you know what? You just kneel on the ball and give Philadelphia the win.
You know, I get the feeling too, Dan, no matter what happens here tonight, Seiferd's not going to come out of this game on balance feeling real good. I mean, he wanted the team to perform a lot better, to be a lot sharper than they've been tonight.
Yeah.
Even though they've had their moments and they played brilliantly through most of the third quarter, it has not been the kind of game that he would have wanted tonight. And Richie Kotite, of course, just trying to go back home and finish the year 8-8.
Mike Flores having a difficult time. They continue to look at him. Mike Flores, who I guess you could say took over Reggie White's spot, that defensive left end. Reggie White, of course, on to Green Bay, and what a change he made in this defense. Clyde Simmons with 19 sacks a year ago, 5 this year.
Calvin Williams striking a very interesting pose over there.
Doing his impersonation of Troy Aikman at the Pro Bowl.
2nd and 10. 49ers without a timeout. The ball at the 13. Eagles leading by 3. Carter in motion. On fake. And Bono has to throw it away. Great coverage work done by the Eagles. Andy Harmon dropping Bono to the turf.
That's just good coverage. He had a lot of time to look right, left. Still nobody could come open, and he just had to throw it away. He is tough down there inside the 10 and the 15, and people are playing the zone defense so well. It's one of the reasons I think the scoring is down considerably. One of the reasons teams have such a difficult time inside the red zone. They have worked on that zone defense down inside the 15 and 10-yard line so much. So many teams use it and use it so well.
3rd and 10 from the 13. Carter in motion. And they give it to Logan, and he takes it to the 11. He was down at the 11-yard line.
Well, here comes a field goal team.
Well, they start in and they stop. And they're coming again.
Got a fake field goal. They're hurrying because
they got plenty of time.
Play clock. Well, they do, but they're acting like it's a fire drill out there.
Colfer for a 30-yard attempt. Bono to put it down at the 20-yard line. Officially 29 yards.
Doing what he had to do.
Yeah.
Kick the field goal, but
maybe not wanting to.
Maybe not wanting to.
Now what else do you do?
So that ties the game at 34, and this will be, what, the 4th overtime game of the weekend.
George Seaman in his 5th year, he's got 3 seasons of 14-2. I think he'd much rather see a 11-5 season than a 10-6.
Not a good snap, and a wonderful job by Steve Bono.
Sure was.
Of getting that ball over where Colfer could strike it cleanly.
Oh, but close.
Well, we're looking at our first overtime game of the season, right? Did we have one?
Yes, we had. We came very close in Denver the night that Jeff Jager kicked one at the gun. Raiders beat him.
Jager's field goal by the Raiders that night was the ugliest, winningest field goal of the year. He tossed the knuckleball from what? That was 50+ yards, wasn't it? Yep.
Well, tonight we've had 8 touchdowns. We've had enough. Well, with the field goals we've had tonight, the NFL establishing a new record, most field goals per game in NFL history this season. What's been going on this year? Well, there have been a little bit more than 4 touchdowns per game and just under 3 field goals per game this year. And we have 12 seconds remaining, and in all likelihood this one will end with another field goal, as most overtime games do. Not the one in New England, however, yesterday.
Much to Don Shula's chagrin.
Herschel Walker takes this kick at the 7-yard line, brings it back to the 22-yard line. With 7 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter.
One player we have not seen tonight, heard from, is James Lofton, who indicated to me that tonight was it for him. Now in his 16th season and some 14 yards short of becoming the first player to reach 14,000 yards as a receiver. There he is. What does he need? 12 yards? 14 yards?
Well,
12 yards.
We'll run out the clock here, and then we'll see about the coin flip. That's the next order of business. 34 all at the end of regulation, and we'll have overtime for you after this from our ABC stations.
The Critic. One critic called it the best new show on TV. All right, it was me, but I'm very hard on myself.
The Critic, coming soon.
I wanted a car that's been proven, and Sable's always led the way in safety and design. It's not some newcomer.
I drive it too, and when I'm out with the kids, this new 24-hour roadside assistance gives me a real sense of security. And when we got serious, it was obvious that Sable was the best value.
And the dealer told us about a specially discounted lease that brought our payments way down, and it's only for 2 years.
Who knows, honey? Maybe by then it'll be time for a wagon.
Right.
At your Lincoln Mercury dealer, everybody wins.
When you win the Pennsylvania Lottery's Cash 5, we'll give you all the cash all at once. In one lump sum. All you have to do is pick it up. Cash 5. All the cash, all at once. When you win the Pennsylvania Lottery's Cash 5, you'll get all the cash all at once in one lump sum. And won't that feel good? Cash 5. All the cash, all at once.
So what's it like up there? I mean, what do you eat?
Great food from Roy's.
Roy Rogers?
This is heaven. Right now, get 2 double cheeseburgers for under $2, or get any of these items for just 99 cents each.
Great deal. But you don't actually cook anything?
You must be thinking of the other place.
Oh, I hate this place!
Next, Sally, is your son more important to your husband than your daughter?
Just a few more of the people who helped bring Monday Night Football your way. And we move on to Arrowhead. Pre-game coverage at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. The game starts at 12:30 Eastern. Pittsburgh against Kansas City, game 1. Then Green Bay, Detroit. Both games on ABC, back-to-back this Saturday as the playoffs get underway. Here, overtime gets underway. The 49ers won the toss. They'll get the ball in overtime. First team to score wins the game. You can play a maximum of 15 minutes. Each team gets 2 timeouts. And this is the way the season will end, I guess appropriately enough, the 4th overtime game of the weekend.
Well, the 49ers are hoping to get the ball to Dexter Carter, who's had a lot of big kickoff returns in this game.
Including a 60-yarder.
Yeah, and no better way to start an overtime period than with a big kickoff return.
Roger Ruzek. Put it in the air. Carter's averaged 32 yards a return tonight. Can bring this one only back to the 25-yard line. That was Adam Walker, actually, who took that kick as he was placed to the side of Carter, and Vaughn Hebron, the rookie, makes the tackle for Philadelphia. Ball up at the 27-yard line, first down, 49ers.
Well, it's the #1 offensive line in the game for the 49ers. No substitutions up there. All the way across the front, it's the number 1 guys.
You think Bono's happy about that?
Brent Jones, the starting tight end, is still in the ball game.
It's what you referred to a while ago as something you didn't really want to happen for the 49ers. For them to go into the overtime period, they gained nothing by winning this game.
Here's Mark Logan on the old crossbuck up to the 32. You ever run a crossbuck, Frank?
The Cupper teach you that? Or
you know, I never knew what a crossbuck was. I heard it all my life, but I'm serious. The time I was in high school.
It was a.
Well, I bet I'll find out now, though.
Blocking. It was a combination of the formation and a blocking scheme.
I thought it was a deer and an elk.
I just made that up.
I know you did.
2nd and 6. Bono throwing to Logan. And Logan dragging Evans out to the 43, and that's a first down.
Remember they used to say buck that line? I had no clue what they meant. And if you cross-bucked it, I guess it was something else. Oh, well. What a lay there.
Commentary truly deserving of being in an overtime of a meaningless football game.
I think we're going to pass this buck. 1st and 10 at the 43. Game tied. 1 minute 20 seconds into overtime. Bono.
Oh boy,
nice catch made by Nate Singleton at the 37-yard line.
Eric Allen is having a full night's work coming his direction. We go into this thing thinking that Mark McMillan on the other side, just because he's 5'7", 162, and opposite Eric Allen is the guy that they're going to go to work on, but in reality it's been Eric Allen who's been the favorite target of the 49ers passing game tonight.
And Singleton, free agent this year, first-year man out of Grambling, has made some big plays tonight.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. One more first down would put them in field goal range, or a comfortable range anyway for Kofor. Dexter Carter picks up a couple to the 36, stopped there by Byron Evans.
Wouldn't lose sight of the fact that Eric Allen's run 4 interceptions back in for touchdowns so far this year.
2 of them last week.
I wouldn't work him over too much.
Tying an NFL record.
Yeah.
Well, so next time you see him, it'll be in Honolulu. Got a long wait for that Pro Bowl, doesn't he?
2nd and 7 at the 35-yard line.
He's halfway there for Philadelphia. Ought to just go on over and wait for him.
Bono with a joiner in his face. Catch made by Logan. He takes it to the 30-yard line.
I think Logan has made some great plays this year for the 49ers, filling in for the injured Tom Rathman.
Boy, Seth Joyner made a mistake and left his feet thinking that Bono was going to pass, and that gave Bono the extra time to complete that ball. If Joyner keeps coming at Bono, he's going to make him throw quicker. Watch Seth here. He's unaccounted for. He's free on his way in, and he's going to jump right here. And that gives Steve the extra time to go ahead and complete that pass. If he just charges directly at Bono, he's not going to have a chance to complete that thing.
49ers take a timeout here.
Kind of grabs me, Dan, and how last week with Houston, so many times the linebackers and the safety blitz would come totally free against the 49ers. Basically a 2-back team with the 1 tight end. They stay right with it. They seldom change their formation, and we've seen it over and over again tonight. And it's not going to be lost on the people that they are going to be meeting in the playoffs either.
Kofor's longest this year, as you saw, 46 yards. Right now, if they didn't get another yard, he'd be kicking a 47-yard field goal. It's 3rd down and 2 at the 30.
A first down would be nice. That made somebody happy.
3rd and 2 at the 30-yard line.
A lot of people on the line of scrimmage for the Eagles.
Oh, I think Ralph Tam did a little move over there in the 64.
Oh, boy, a 47-yarder now becomes a 52-yarder.
Before the snap, false start. Number 64, 5 yards. It's still third down.
What a terrible time to do that. Because he just has recently signed a new contract this past week. I guess if you're going to do it, the ink isn't even dry.
Ralph thinking to himself right now, oh, duty.
Probably. 3rd and 7 from the 35. Oh, yeah. Bono. Oh, a juggling catch made by Singleton. And he's out of bounds inside the 15-yard line.
49ers love that crossing pattern underneath. That's a Jerry Rice pass you've seen so many times. Coming from the left side, just beyond the line of scrimmage. Unbelievably effective against his zone because you just lose him. Singleton makes another big play. Look at him coming. Seth Joyner trying to stay with him, or is it William Thomas trying to stay with him? But you get a linebacker on a wide receiver, you got a great situation.
21-yard gain on a 3rd and 7. Singleton has now caught 5 for 92 yards. And clearly in very comfortable Kofor range now. At the 14-yard line, and the 49ers are going to take another timeout. The play clock was down to 3. So that's their final timeout. You're allowed 2 in overtime. So Bono tonight, who came on in relief of Steve Young. 17 of 27.
Wasn't bad last week either. 11 of 13, 79 yards.
And again, they want to keep him sharp because he missed half the season with that shoulder separation he suffered on a Monday night preseason game in Denver.
August 16th. Seems like a few weeks ago, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's when Young had the fractured thumb. Bono gets hurt.
Yeah.
It looks like they might have to open the season with Bill Musgrave or Elvis Gerback.
He's driven into the ground by Darren Drozdov. Ask me how I remember that.
How did you remember that?
I don't know.
Maybe that little note there you had.
No, you just don't confuse Darren Drozdov with anybody.
No.
49ers, by the way, with 3 more points would tie a team record for most points in a season.
And they have attempted 46 passes so far in this ball game tonight.
Well,
they're going to kick right here.
He's trying to set Kofor up for the best angle. So he moves the ball to the center of the field, dead center.
I don't think ordinarily for the regular season game you would not kick this ball on 2nd down.
No. And I can almost guarantee you that if Kofor misses this, 45 guys in red jerseys are going to jump right on top of him.
And
come on, Rich.
He's going to take a timeout.
That's
32-yard attempt coming up.
Richie's going to ice Kofor here. It's because the plane's not leaving until Richie gets there.
Right.
An important game for the Eagles. Getting to 500 is something that this team has fought hard for. And
well, they've had trouble with their kicking team, the 49ers. They had trouble last week. They've had 3 blocked this season. I mean, this is not, something for sure.
If he kicks this one, it would break by 1 their record for most points in a year. 475 in 1984, one of the great Bill Walsh teams, the year they beat Miami in the Super Bowl.
I was talking to Mike before the game. He said, I told him the statistic we had, how few 50-yard field goals they've had here. Clyde Simmons trying to psych Mike Kofor, but I don't think that's going to happen. But there's it's a very soft turf here, and you get a lot of bad holes.
Mike Kofor. Ooh. Simmons was right. The uprights were that narrow.
Whoa.
Friends are hard to find right now for Mike Kofor.
He should have gone on the other side.
The season that refuses to end. 4:32 into overtime. Philadelphia gets the ball.
Hold looked good. Bono got a good snap. Plenty of time.
Well, Kofor's been very erratic for a couple of years now. In fact, Roger Ruzek was cut by Philadelphia. They brought Barr in, and Ruzek actually tried out here in midseason before going back to Philly.
It was Denver that had given it to him.
No, Jerry. Nice try.
Not yet. Nope. Bubby Brister. There's the screen to James Joseph. And he's out of bounds up at the 37, and the marker's down back at the 24.
Very late flag.
Yeah, it's about 9:35.
Yeah. All right.
Ineligible, number 78 downfield. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
Anton Davis.
Well, you're 325 pounds, and you're just trying to hustle downfield to get a block. And
he's so big, part of him might have been downfield. Our medic of the night.
Makes it 1st and 15 at the 15. 4 minutes and 50 seconds into overtime. The game tied 34-34. At one time tonight, the Eagles led 24-3. Tip incomplete. Dennis Brown got a hand on it. And then Thomas dove for it. 2nd and 15.
A great looking shot of Dennis Brown getting that big paw up there.
Rathman and Jones.
Boy, they're both
keenly attuned to the game.
Yeah, they're both at a fever pitch over there, aren't they?
2nd and 15. From the 15-yard line as Brister goes over the middle. Catch is made by Michael Young. He takes it to the 22. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
I guarantee you, Bubby Brister wants to win this football game.
Well, everybody for the Eagles. This, we have stated all along about how this team has had to battle through more than its fair share of adversity. Tumultuous offseason, the loss of Randall Cunningham, Fred Barnett, Clyde Simmons plays most of the year hurt. Seth Joyner plays hurt. Byron Evans is out 7 games. On and on and on.
3rd and 8. Walker gets knocked down. No flag. Michael Magruder knocked him down. Herschel says, where's the yellow?
Totally uncatchable, and if they just chose to ignore that one for all the right reasons. As you'll see here, that not even in the area. So the 49ers should get good field position.
Jeff Fiegels to punt.
Kofor is probably hoping they'll run it back.
Dexter Carter at the 30-yard line. Lost the football, but it's picked up by Merton Hanks. And the 49ers have it at the 43, and there's a marker down again. Dexter Carter. Well, he was the guy who was William Thomas is shaken up.
Oh boy.
Carter's 2 fumbles, you'll recall, in the Atlanta game opened
Here
the
to run back.
door for the
Illegal block
Falcons.
from behind. Number 52. 10 yards. 1st down.
Thomas has had a terrific year for the Eagles, clutching that right knee. Let's take a look. Did he get blindsided here? Yeah. His own man came in and whacked him on the right knee.
So Thomas shaken up, and As this season winds down, teams with hot starts, cold finishes this year. Philly started 4-0, but then Cunningham got hurt, and Barnett got hurt, and 3-8 over the ensuing 11 games. New Orleans 5-0 at the start, and they finished 3-8 for a total of 8 wins and 8 losses out of the playoffs. Miami at one time the best record in the National Football League, and you all know what happened there. So there they are, the Eagles, the Saints, and the Dolphins all out. Well, getting to the playoffs last year, all off to good starts this year, but bad second halves. And a good sign here is Thomas is able to at least get up.
Well, what a terrific year he's had. Not all that big, 220 pounds, but a couple of interceptions. He's had 4.5 sacks, a couple of fumble recoveries, forced a few fumbles. He's played very well for the Eagles all year long.
So William Thomas assisted from the field at Candlestick Park as we have gone 6 minutes and 4 seconds into this overtime period.
He gets a nice hand from some of the folks here at Candlestick Park. Kind of
He'll get a
classy thing to do.
In a way, encouragement, a pat from Richie Pettibone, rather. Richie co-tied, of course, and he's very fond of this youngster.
46 pass attempts by the San Francisco duo of Young and Bono tonight, and that's too shy of their record number of attempts, 48. So lots of records in the passing game being challenged tonight by the 49ers.
First and 10 at the 26-yard line.
I wouldn't have bet on that one before this game.
Here's Mark Logan up to the 33-yard line.
Well, you put in a full day's work when a Monday nighter goes into Tuesday morning in overtime. Final game of the 1993 NFL season. And this has been some effort by both these teams. This isn't where they want to be in overtime, but you've got to applaud the way that both of these clubs approached tonight's game.
2nd and 3. Logan to the 34-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
We said it at the very top that we expected a good game and we got one, and it's a tribute to the Philadelphia Eagle players. We've talked about it over and over tonight, how it's been a season where they just never ever quit.
What's the type of a deal where as a football player your instincts just take over? You're down on the field, there's an opponent across from you, you've been playing the game since you were a little kid, and you're just on automatic right now. You're just playing the game the only way you know how to play. You're a natural born competitor, the juices are flowing, and it really doesn't matter the situation or the scenario.
Well, speaking of juices flowing,
yes.
Well, Keith Millard's juices have been flowing for a long time.
Yes.
This guy suffered a devastating knee injury years ago. Remember how awesome he was for the Vikings?
77, 5 yards, first down.
Keith Millard had a couple of years as a defensive tackle for the Vikings that were as good as any player in the league. One of the most explosive guys off the ball. And a good look at that explosiveness right there.
He's trying to say that McIntyre had drawn him off sides. He doesn't get the flag, however. And that'll be a first down.
1st and 10 at the 38-yard line. Logan gains 2. Good to see William Thomas, by the way, just a moment ago, walking off the field with a minor limp, but on his own, able to get back to the dressing room. 49ers here are 2nd down and 8, and here comes Brent Jones limping off the field. And again, that's exactly why you don't want to go into overtime.
Boy, that's what you hate to see. That's what Dan referred to when he was talking about George Seifert not wanting this thing to go into overtime.
2nd and 8 at the 40-yard line. Dexter Carter is in motion. Slovak Eagle rush. Pass is caught at the 42-yard line. Flag down. That is Singleton's 6th catch of the game temporarily.
Jamie Williams, the tight end, signaling that this is a hold against Philadelphia.
Holding number 54 of the defense. 5 yards, automatic first down.
Well, another first down by penalty against the Eagles. That's 2 on this drive. You don't get that many mistakes for free in this league without having to belly up to the bar and pay for it.
First down at the 45-yard line. 9 minutes into overtime. Again, if the game is tied at the end of one 15-minute period, that's it. A tie game. And there hasn't been one all season in the National Football League.
Here comes the world.
Catch is made at the 49-yard line by Sanjay Beach.
Good read by Bono and Beach.
And good defense by Philadelphia. That's
sure was.
That's just a well-executed play by both clubs. The full blitz, good coverage, good throw, good catch, good tackle. Well done.
Only a pickup of about 3, but that also, you didn't get your quarterback sacked either.
That's just one of those deals where the offensive coordinator watches it with his team, the defensive coordinator watches it with his team, and everybody gets kudos all the way around.
2nd and 7 at the 48.
Well, Steve Bono's playing this one all by himself.
Yeah.
The ball was snapped and the entire 49er offensive line stayed on the line of scrimmage.
The whistle never did blow.
Well, it's not. No. There's no penalty. It's not offsides or anything. Jesse just snaps it and says, Steve, you're on your own.
George said, what happened?
The center, hard for him to be offsides. Watch the. Here comes the snap, and I think it's safe to say that's before anybody was expecting it. And Bono left to fend for his life.
Andy Harmon almost had him as he pulled away from the center.
3rd and 7 at the 48-yard line, and Jones back in the game and in motion.
Blitz again.
And Bono gets sacked back at the 35 by Keith Millard. 49ers will be forced to punt.
What'd you say happens at the end of regulation?
At the end of regulation, it's a tie game. It would be the only tie game of the year in the National Football League.
Once again, the 49ers struggle with the blitz, as they did last week against Houston, almost getting shut out of that one.
So Klaus Wilmsmeyer comes in to punt, and Vi Sikahema back to receive for the Eagles.
Herschel Walker is out there on the punt return team for the Eagles.
Love it. Sikahema backs up, fields it at the 6-yard line. And gets dragged down at the 22-yard line. Tackle made by Damian Russell. You know, it's hard to believe there has not been a game in the 90s in the National Football League that has wound up in a tie. So it's, well, we're coming to the end of the 4th year without a tie game.
Only on Monday night.
Yep.
Right on the cutting edge.
Only on Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning, you're right.
Well, Monday night here.
4 minutes and 22 seconds left in this epic struggle.
Eagles have 1 timeout. 49ers have none. 1st and 10, Philadelphia at the 22-yard line. 34-34. Brister. And that's dropped by Lofton.
That ball thrown pretty high by Bubby. Even the rangy Lofton had to go way up for that.
Lofton, of course, winding down on a 16-year career. Green Bay, the Raiders, the Bills, back to the Raiders, the Rams, and as we've already mentioned, he needs 12 yards to hit 14,000. Of course, no other NFL receiver's ever done that.
2nd and 10 at the 22-yard line. Joseph picks up only 2. He's tackled there by Bill Romanowski. And we have 4:05 remaining in overtime. Third and 8 upcoming. Long night for John Johnson and the defense. Bristol leads them up 3rd and 8 at the 24. At the 3rd and 7 at the 24-yard line.
7 DBs for the 49ers.
And a 4-man rush. Brister, a little flip. Lofton makes the catch. James Lofton to the 49er 44-yard line.
Well,
there it is.
So much for 14,000 yards. And look at that. Everybody in the Eagles, they know it. And he throws the football over to the sideline. That'll go on the Lofton mantle.
He's already the all-time leading receiver in yardage, but that time over 14,000. That's rather impressive. Yes. How many miles would that be? Steve Hurt still down there?
14,000 yards.
1,700 yards in a mile.
5,280 into that.
Well, there's 1,700 and change. What is 17 and what?
1760.
60. So
that's all we need to do at this point to figure that out.
9 miles and something.
James Joseph to the 33-yard line in the first down. So the Eagles coming close to field goal range for Roger Ruzek. Kofor's already missed one in overtime. And the clock down to 2:25 as Ruzek loosens up. There is a 2-minute warning. So the Eagles have 1 timeout plus the 2-minute warning. First and 10 at the 32-yard line. James Joseph. He's out of bounds at the 26. And the clock stops at 1:59. And in effect, it's the equivalent of the 2-minute warning.
And Ruzek is now well within range.
Bizarre ending to a year. If Ruzek wins this game with a field goal, he starts the year, he's hurt. He's inconsistent, so they cut him. They bring in Matt Barr. Ruzek comes out here and tries out for the 49ers because Kofor had been inconsistent, but they don't sign him. And then they cut Barr when he misses what would have been a game-tying field goal.
And he also went 3 for 8 of his last 8 for Philadelphia.
Right. That was against Buffalo. And then they bring Ruzek back, and now he might have a chance to win it. Bubby, meanwhile, 350 yards tonight. His career high, 353, while with the Steelers in 1990.
Maybe without Anton Davis hoisting him off the turf, he might not have stayed in there. He thought he was really hurt. Davis just propped him up. And they left him in.
So it's 2nd down and 3 at the 25-yard line. 13 minutes and 1 second into the 15-minute overtime period. And the ball at the 25-yard line. Mark Thomas.
Whatever they do, it's going to be kind of high percentage stuff because they are within field goal range.
Joseph plowing ahead close to a first down, taking it near the 22-yard line. And Roger Ruzek.
That'll move the chains.
Still walking the sidelines. It is a first down.
I wouldn't hesitate to put the ball in the air, though. I think Brister is such a good movement quarterback. I'd test the perimeter with Bubby. Let him run with it. Let him find a guy open downfield.
Off of play action too.
Yeah, this guy moves so well. I'd put him in motion.
Michael Young in motion. This is Joseph. He takes it to the 20. And he is sent back from that spot.
Look at Brister go in there. This guy, you know, you get the impression that this guy wishes he was a linebacker, a defensive tackle. He'd like to mix it up on every play.
What are they going to do? They're going to let it. Play clock has 18 and ticking.
Game clock with 45 seconds, if necessary, remaining in overtime. The Eagles have a timeout left. Second down and 8 from the 20. Joseph. Well, he loses a yard.
Hello, Mr. McDonald.
And the Eagles now will take a timeout when the clock ticks down to the final few seconds and end the game one way or another on a Ruzek field goal attempt. So Rich is just waiting for the clock to tick down.
Well, I would have left myself. I would have stopped the clock a while ago to give myself another opportunity in case something happened, a bad snap, a bad hold, or something like that.
Exactly right. Maybe with 12 or 13 seconds.
Yeah. I would have given myself a little bit of a leeway there in case something happened.
Surprising that they did.
Seeing you're kicking it on third down.
This will be a 38-yard attempt for Roger Ruzek. John Hudson snaps it. Jeff Fiegels holds it. And this will be the final play
of the 93 regular season.
You bet. barring
on to Kansas City.
Barring a penalty. What's up, guy? You cannot end the game on a defensive penalty.
Nope. So here we go as the regular season ends here. Game time at 34 at the end of overtime. yards. And it is a flag is down. The kick is no good. No good. Merton Hanks ran in to Fiegels.
But there is a penalty.
You cannot end on a defensive foul.
Ruzek is down. He ran by Fiegels.
Roughing the kicker. Number 36.
That's 15 yards.
Now Ruzek.
First down.
Kick it again.
No time on the clock.
Meanwhile, Ruzek, is he too hurt to kick is the question now.
Somebody can kick.
As we say, the season that won't die.
Ruzek is up walking around, and he appears that he will. My candidate would be William Perry. Didn't Mike Ditka used to tell us that the refrigerator would stay out after practice and kick field goals and extra points?
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to end this season with a little style, with a little flair, let the fridge boot it.
All that work on that Stairmaster.
Well, one more time,
barring a defensive foul. 28-yard attempt for the shaken up Ruzek. And this one is good.
What a tribute to this Philadelphia Eagles team.
You bet.
You got to feel good for him.
Kind of a symbolic ending to their season. The guy gets hurt. They've been battered and bruised and have hung in there all season long. And Ruzek very much the symbol of that.
You got to feel good for Richie Kotite and his ball club. The 49ers get 2 weeks to get themselves ready for the playoffs. They get to have a game here at Candlestick Park. They'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. And
one of the concerns we'll have, and we don't have time to find out, and that is the tight end Brent Jones, who limped off.
He did come back in.
He did come back.
And